Good morning and welcome to Breedy for Game 11 of the IP20 series between the Northwest Warriors and the Leinster Lightning. Should be a superb game of cricket this morning. The weather's set fair, plenty of cars in here at Breedy already, and you'd expect more to come. There's plenty of people in, and you can understand why, with this being such a high profile and big pressure game for both sides. A few minutes ago, Alan Lewis was out in the middle for the toss between the two captains and also match referee Graham McRae. Let's see what happened.
Welcome to Game 11 of the Cricket Ireland IP20 series. I'm joined here by match referee Graham McRae, Leinster Lightning captain George Dockrell, and Northwest Warriors captain Andrew McBride. Graham, will you toss the coin?
I'll have a ball, please.
You'll have a bowl. Andrew, your reason and rationale behind that?
Just think if it's anything going to be done, it's going to be first thing this morning. Like we've seen yesterday's, obviously first thing yesterday morning, did nip about a wee bit, so that's what my thoughts behind bowling today.
And first v second, you're top of the table by a good distance. Real important game for you today.
Yeah, massive game. Like as we said yesterday, we take one game at a time and we keep trying to play our best cricket, and hopefully the outcome will be the same as the last couple of games.
Excellent, well done, and all the best to you. And all
Cheers.
the best to you, Andrew. George, much improved yesterday. What was the rationale with that? What was the feedback around that with the team yesterday?
Yeah, I think we were a lot better with the ball yesterday. Batting wise, probably still had a little bit left in the tank. Had a bit of a kind of poor finish to that game. So I think we're feeling today if we can do a little bit better in that last 5 overs and put a decent score on the board. I think with the attack we have, when those guys are delivering, I think it could be tough to chase against us.
So it's really set fair, second in the table, a must-win game for the Lightning today.
Definitely, obviously the Warriors have done so well so far this year, and I think a win here will really pull them back level. Don't want them running away too much with it. So obviously a huge game for us and for them, and in the competition as a whole.
And your team news? Unchanged?
We're unchanged again.
Unchanged.
Yeah.
Well, all the best to you and all the best to Andrew. I see you're unchanged as well. Fantastic. Enjoy the game, guys, and let's hope for a good game between the two sides.
Thank you.
That concludes the toss. The Northwest Warriors have won the toss and have elected to bowl.
That was the news from the toss. Apologies for a small little technical issue, but the news from the toss was that the Northwest Warriors have won it. And probably unsurprisingly, they're going to bowl first this morning. Andy McBride citing the reasons that if there's going to be any sort of joy for seam bowlers on this pitch, it probably will be early this morning, like they exploited yesterday against the Munster Reds. Andrew Blair White here in the commentary box with Peter Gillespie to start off proceedings this morning. And Peter, it should be an excellent game. The Leinster Lightning looked back to their best yesterday, and the Northwest Warriors have been superb in their 2 games so far.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, and good morning. You almost felt that it was a must-win game yesterday for Leinster, and as we said yesterday on commentary, it was the Leinster Lightning team that we all expected. They've turned up a bit late after 3 defeats, but it's really catapulted them back into this competition, and it's made this game an absolute cracker for both sides. Northwest have been the consistent form team over the 2 festivals that we've seen so far. They topped the table with 2 bonus point wins, but Leinster showing something close to their best yesterday, so they'll be wanting to continue that resurgence today. And these two produced the game of the weekend last weekend, and I think we could see something similar today.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll see an excellent game of cricket here. Craig Young's going to open the bowling from the pavilion end. Kevin O'Brien and Simi Singh yet again opening the batting. Young to come in to bowl the first ball of Super Sunday. That's a good start. It's just jagged back a little bit at Kevin O'Brien. You could tell with the Leinster Lightning yesterday, though, with Kevin O'Brien and Simi Singh, from very, very early on, you just felt there was a different energy between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a completely different mindset. and we spoke about it at length. We've seen the intent that maybe had been lacking in the previous games. They obviously had a bit of soul searching to do in the camp, and probably some harsh words, would imagine. And fair play to the players; they responded.
It was full. Kevin O'Brien had actually given himself a bit of room there, trying to flay that one almost helicopter style over the offside. Yeah, you'd have to imagine after that defeat against the Munster Reds, there were probably a few home truths in that changing room. It hasn't been the start they would have wanted to this 2020 campaign, but the nature of these festivals, games keep coming, and if you get on a winning streak, you're suddenly right back up the top of the table.
Yeah, absolutely. It's provided them with a fantastic opportunity.
And this time O'Brien succeeds in getting that one over the offside. A shot he was trying to play off the previous ball with on offer, and it's trickled away for a boundary. The first runs of the day here off the bat of Kevin O'Brien over backward point and the first boundary.
Yeah, Kevin just accepting the width on offer there, following through with the shot. He just looked to be something close back to some form yesterday. He got a few out of the screws and then just got underneath one, and Ross Adair took an absolutely fantastic catch, and you can see straight away that's brought a change in the field. The field was set up for that shorter back of a length, protecting the short boundary. With two wide balls, it forced the captain to put the deep cover in.
Again, O'Brien giving himself a bit of room. Young following him this time round, just crashes into a pad. They'll run through for a leg by. Yeah, you feel with Kevin O'Brien, it feels like it's only going to be a matter of time before we see that big score. It hasn't been a season he'll want to remember so far, but there's been elements of his game that are looking like they're back to their best, and we all know the power and the ability that he possesses, so you feel it will come at some stage soon.
Yeah, absolutely, and with the big series against Zimbabwe coming up here as well.
Oh, that's an absolute peach of a delivery to Simi Singh first up. Singh has hit back-to-back half-centuries so far this weekend. 61 the first day in a lone effort against the Munster Reds, and 57 yesterday. But Craig Young's almost dismissed him first ball with an absolute crackerjack.
Yeah, he's seen this length a lot from Craig Young yesterday. That heavy, hard length, back of a length, really challenging the batsman, getting it to jag off the seam both ways.
Again, slightly squaring Singh up with that movement away from the right-hander. That completes the first over. A pretty good one for the Northwest Warriors. It's 5 without loss.
Yeah, good start again. Both sides realising, I think, the importance of this game. And as I say, that Zimbabwe series coming up very soon. There's so much to play for. Ireland will want their best players in form. It's great to see Simi getting back-to-back half-centuries this weekend. He's been in tremendous form with the bat and with the ball. People like Kevin, Craig Young bowling very well. These are the guys that are going to have to put their hands up in the international series. It comes when the selectors sit down to make their final decisions, and it certainly has all to play for still.
Yeah, we're going to see Graham Hume, as always, opening from the Mason Road end of the ground. I feel almost compelled, as our co-commentator would say, to call Graham Hume very miserly, as he has been throughout this weekend and throughout this whole season.
Yeah, as miserly as anyone can be in T20 cricket. Everyone's got that one over in them that's going to go around the park. It's just what you do with the rest of it. And certainly Graham Hume has been one of the most consistent bowlers for the Warriors. Not to the forefront of wicket, but he just gets him off to that start, keeps things tight, doesn't give away a lot of boundaries. He's a good foil for someone like Craig Young.
Hume just drifting a little bit too much there. I think this is a very interesting ploy from Kevin O'Brien. We have seen very, very few people really, really try to take on Graham Hume in the power play overs. Now, that's obviously credit to the bowler, who's been metronomic in his accuracy usually. Kevin O'Brien looks like he's not going to let Hume settle. And if he gets on top, it'll be interesting to see what Hume has in the locker.
Yeah, he's just forcing those few wide there. Field does seem set up for the offside delivery. We have seen the Warriors employ this tactic in quite a few games. They like to keep it full, they like to keep it wide, they almost like to keep it out of the hitting arc, and the hitting arc for someone as powerful as Kevin O'Brien is not the place you want to be.
You've seen there on your screens Kevin O'Brien, he's shuffling about an awful lot in his guard. Almost maybe a little bit too much at times. Going in and out, trying to create room, then coming back in line, but that's an excellent delivery from Graham Hume.
Yeah, he's actually watched him very well there, just adjusted his length slightly, trying to anticipate what Kevin was going to do.
Kevin O'Brien trying to hit that one over the top. Wasn't quite in the slot, and that's where you've got to give great credit to Graham Hume. He bowls that sort of length, just is never sitting up there in the slot for the likes of a Kevin O'Brien to be able to free his hands and access over the top.
Yeah, again, but we'll go back to yesterday's game. You can see the Leinster batsmen. They're intent. They're looking to score. They're looking to take things on. It hasn't quite happened yet. Kevin threw the kitchen sink at that, but as you say, it just wasn't quite there in the slot for it.
Probably accepting that length is probably tricky enough to get away on this pitch as it has been all weekend. Just drops one into the offside for a single.
It'll be interesting to see Simi Singh. His almost default position to that is to advance down the wicket. We call it his trademark now. He's very good at it, and that's someone who can possibly take, and you can see there Stephen Downey straight up to the stumps. They're very aware of Simi's capabilities. They want to keep him in the crease as much as possible, and it's a real foil for the bowler who can continue to bowl that length that he enjoys without fear that Simi's going to advance and take it into.
Yeah, well, it just limits Singh's options as we see him get off the mark today, out to deep cover. We've seen it so many times that he can go down the track and access that extra cover. Usually when he's stuck in his crease a little bit, he'll try to access the leg side more. He tries to play a slog sweep shot, even against seam.
Yeah, and he does it so well.
That ends the second over. A very good one from Graham Hume. Just 4 runs from it. Leinster Lightning 9 with a loss after 2 overs. Absolutely stunning numbers watching already this morning, up around the 8,000 figure and above. Already we'd like to thank you all for getting involved so early on a Sunday morning, and make sure to get in contact with us on social media. We want to hear exactly where you are watching this game. There's massive crowds here already in Breedy. The cars are all out. I'm sure we'll hear the honking of the horns, but we want to hear where you're watching this game from around the world. Make sure to get in touch on Twitter and Facebook at Cricket Ireland, on Instagram at Cricket_Ireland. Let us know where you're watching this game, all of you, as Craig Young is going to bowl the third over of the innings of what this is a top of the table clash in the IP20 festival. You see Singh there, as you mentioned, Peter, using that step approach. Craig Young bowling an aggressive back of a length delivery, isn't able to access over the offside this time.
Yeah, but it just shows you how comfortable he is playing that shot. You know, speed doesn't matter. He knows what length he wants to access as a batsman, and he's willing to go searching for it and showing good intent.
Flicked away. Perhaps a little bit of a misfield from William McClintock. Allow them to get through for 2. Might have been a little bit harsh on McClintock there. That could have actually been a very good stop. But O'Brien just flicking one off his pads.
Well, as you said, Andrew, there's plenty of cars in, there's plenty of spectators, but I think for the first time this week, really, we can say that the deck chairs are out as well. Such is the weather that we've been graced with at Brady today.
Yeah, we might be able, maybe in an over or two's time, to get a view of all the cars up on the bank, on the mound, up on the top pitch, and the people sitting on the pavilion as well. Such great numbers in force here out in Brady, and they'll be wanting a big home victory. The Northwest Warriors, they got over the line by the barest of margins last week against the Leinster Lightning. They'll want to do the double over them in this T20 competition.
It's great delivery again from Craig Young. He really just looks like a bowler that's on top of his game at the moment. He's running in with such fire. You can see his approach to the crease. You can see that hard length we talk about that he's bowling. Kevin just backing away there, just trying to access it, but just a lovely shape. And even just looking where Lorcan Tucker, or where Stephen Johnny has taken that delivery, tells you everything you need to know. We've questioned this pitch at various times during the weekend. What's par? Wasp shows 153. You know, we think it's around about there.
Big appeal there. Craig Young going forward, trying to take a return catch. He thought there might have been a little bit of an inside edge. It did sound like there was two noises, but I don't think that has hit the bat.
There was definitely two noises, Andrew. Yes, one of them sounded woody to me, but it's hard to tell at that speed, that pace, if it's the bat clipping the pad, if it's the ball clipping the bat then onto the pad, you know. But certainly the Warriors got excited there for a split second. Kevin O'Brien back in the hutch would be fantastic. Skipper and bowler definitely a little bit of shaking heads there.
Club down the ground from Kevin O'Brien. It's a great effect. Just the one time in this over, Craig Young's maybe gone a little bit fuller, and Kevin O'Brien needs no second invitation to swing through the line. His second boundary, and the third over. The Leinster Lightning 16 without loss.
Yeah, fantastic shot, and I think Craig will be disappointed after such a good over. As you say, he just pushed it slightly fuller, but you can see Kevin O'Brien, you can see in his stance, you can see in his setup, he has that backlift. He is willing and ready. As soon as he gets the opportunity, he's going to go. And he's certainly got that one out of the screws. The last ball boundary is always something that a bowler hates to concede. And it's pushed the score, as you say, up to 16 for none off 3. Still think these two teams are, it feels more like a sparring match than a prize fight at the moment. They're still feeling each other out.
Yeah, straight to short fine leg, but good running from Kevin O'Brien. Runs through quickly. Single. Yeah, I think with just how, I suppose, the previous two games have gone in the morning, we've seen power plays that have yielded, 25 for threes or 30 for threes in the two games. I'm sure actually the Leinster Lightning probably wouldn't be too, would quite enjoy if they ended up the 6 overs with 36-40 without loss, and gives themselves a platform to then build upon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good bowling options at Andy McBride's disposal.
Again, running to short fine leg, and this one was close. This one was really close from Craig Young. It may well have been out if he'd hit. Kevin O'Brien had hit this one a little bit more firmly to that fielder than Singh had the previous ball. It's good fielding from Craig Young, well attacked, and would have been certainly very close. Yeah,
you feel a direct hit would have kept Simi continuing to run to the boundary. Craig was probably slightly on his heels in the first chance, but not there.
feeling a little bit aggrieved that's been called a wide, and the reason for that is the fact that Singh's actually stepped outside his leg stump. Beyond that wide line though, umpire today, Rowley Black, who's on your screen right now, standing at the Mason Road end, and Alan Neal standing at the Pavilion end, two of the finest umpires in Ireland.
Yeah, this is good from Leinster. They're being smart. There's not a lot of boundaries on offer. They're picking them up where they can, but in the meantime, again, like yesterday, they're just happy to rotate the strike. As you say, if they get through the power play with none, maybe one down,
First without yesterday,
it really gives them a platform to launch into that Warriors bowling attack.
It's a thick edge from Kevin O'Brien, but it's gone away for 4. And sometimes when you're a little bit out of nick, you need a bit of fortune. He's flayed the bat at that from Graham Hume. It was under no control, but it's gone away for a boundary.
Yeah, Graham Hume probably finds himself slightly unlucky there, because I think the captain did have a slip in, whether it was an orthodox first slip or a wideish first slip. He would have been interested in that, but fortune favours the brave, as they say, and Kevin's certainly trying to give it everything here as he picks up another boundary. He won't care how they come.
Again, thick edge. This time straight to short third man, and it's a good catch from William McClintock. Kevin O'Brien's stay comes to a close at 16, and Graham Hume takes the first wicket of the day here, and you can't say it hasn't been deserved by the Northwest Warriors this morning.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Like the previous shot, you're not in control of that. One ball goes for 4, the next ball just finds the only fielder in that region straight to his hands. He doesn't have to move. But yeah, good reward. I think it's been a cagey enough opening here for both teams. You know, they've really been sounding each other out. Northwest have kept Leinster under pressure. They have got boundaries here and there, and I think it's a pretty even contest so far between bat and ball, as the Ireland skipper Andrew Balbirnie comes to the crease. He's not had the weekend that he would have hoped so far. A duck against the Munster Reds, bit of few yesterday, 25, but for a player of his calibre, he'll certainly be expecting more than that.
Yeah, fell to a very good catch on Friday by Greg Ford. Off the bowling of Josh Manley, just falling second delivery. Thought he really looked in the mood yesterday, though. Balbirnie, his innings cut short at 25. Such a lovely batter to watch when in full flow. The Lightning could do with runs from him today. And he's going to start off with a boundary. Backward a point, driven a little bit off a thick edge, but he was in fair control of that, and Balbirnie starts his account with a boundary. It ends the 4th over. A wicket for the Northwest Warriors, but also a couple of boundaries for the Leinster Lightning there, 28 for 1.
Yeah, again, that just a little bit of away movement from Graham Hume finds the edge. That's 3 in a row, 2 boundaries and a wicket. And he can feel, it's one of those overs where he feels probably, how did that happen? You know, he's bowled well, but he's gone for 2 boundaries even though he picked up a wicket. As we see the first change made by the Warriors captain and McBride. As of yesterday, he brings Ryan Macbeth into the attack early within the power play, trusting his young seamer. But this game aside, Andrew, you know, you look at and selection issues aside, I know there's slots here and there, but you know the Ireland skipper Andy Balbirnie is going to be one of the players that's going to feature in that Zimbabwe series here. You know, result irrespective, you'd want him to bat for a period on this ground. You want him to get used to the conditions. You want him to see, you know, the boundary lengths, what kind of way he can play, because it's such an important series for Ireland.
Yeah, Macbeth has come into the Northwest Warriors side this weekend and has equipped himself very well, but this is probably his biggest test to date. Bowling to both Simi Singh, who's well and truly in the mood, and the Irish captain Andy Balbirnie. Probably haven't seen batters really take the game to Macbeth so far this weekend, but he seems to be a very canny bowler. Skids it through, has a wider area of slower balls as well. And that's an excellent delivery. It's Andy Balbirnie. It's almost clipped his off stump. Just jagging back a little bit off the seam.
Yeah, Andrew Balbirnie left a massive gap there. I can only imagine it's because of the position that the ball's taken. It looked as if it was going to shape away there from the hand, and then when it pitched, it just held its line. And as you see, Andrew Balbirnie played for that delivery to be a lot wider than it ended, and he got a little bit too close to his off stump for his comfort.
Driven away, but they do have protection back on that cover boundary. Ross Allen's out there doing the sweeping.
Yeah, as you say, Andrew, this is by far his biggest test to date. Simi Singh has undoubtedly been the form batsman this weekend. He's got 118 in his previous 2 matches, and he's looking good, Nick, today, and the Ireland skipper at the other end.
That's good batting from Singh there. I think he was trying to go for actually a bigger shot. He'd almost set himself up, planted the leg, but readjusted, placed it down to mid-on, and calls Balbirnie through for a single.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you know as a batsman. He's just seen the back lift go slightly higher, and then just having to check when the length wasn't there. Maybe it didn't come on as quick, but good adjustment to get the single out of it. I'll be happy with that.
That's a showcase of one of Macbeth's slower deliveries, which we've seen him use quite potently so far this weekend. He's just gone for the 3 singles so far in this over. He'll be desperate to try and get out of this over in the power play without a boundary.
Yeah, and you just see Simi Singh there at the non-strikers end, just rehearsing that shot that he maybe thought about playing a few deliveries ago. He certainly likes that area back over the bowler's head.
And Balbirnie's gone out to deep cover, and it's a great catch. Great catch from Ross Allen at deep cover. Those are often tricky when you're having to run in. And it's a massive wicket for the young man, Ryan Macbeth. He's dislodged the Irish captain there, trying to hit over extra cover. A little bit off that thick edge again. And Ross Allen's taken a very smart catch.
Yeah, very smart catch. We've seen Gavin Hoey take one and drop one yesterday in almost a similar position. Then when it's out in that area, those balls travel. The Warriors bowling coach Boyd Rankin, I only think, will be very, very pleased with how the Warriors have been bowling to their plans. We've seen it in previous games. They like to bowl full, they like to bowl wide, they get protection in the right areas, and Andrew Balbirnie just fell into that trap, followed the wide delivery, got good contact on it, but it's found the deep cover fielder who's taken a great catch. And I think, Andrew, the standard fielding this weekend has been nothing short of spectacular.
Yeah, it's been absolutely superb. And there you're having a look at the scorecard with the Leinster Lightning 31 for 2 after 5 overs. Myself and Peter are going to lend our way out for a couple of overs, and I'm going to hand you over to Andrew Leonard and Alan Lewis.
Thank you, gents. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Andrew. Beautiful morning here in Brady. Warm, blue sky, lovely ground, and the Northwest Warriors on top.
And a big crowd in, biggest of the week by a distance. All packing their cars up on the bank across to our right from your camera view, the same. And we're certainly getting into the game. The car horns starting to go. Big claps there for that catch, dismissing the Irish captain. And as it's so often been for the Leinster Lightning, it's going to be over to Simi Singh and George Dockrell again. to try and salvage things as Shane Getgate comes into the attack.
Yes, indeed, and an interesting tactic here from the Warriors, one we haven't seen. 6 overs of seam in the power play. We'd regularly see Andrew McBrien either opening or certainly taking the 3rd over in the power play, but not today. Again, probably part of the plan in terms of winning the toss. Andrew McBrien spoke about just maybe that little bit of moisture in the surface. There was a little bit of moisture in the surface, which can only get better as the day goes on.
Yeah, you'd like to think probably perhaps the best batting conditions of the week, Alan. Spin will come into this, though, more and more as well.
Yeah, certainly it'll come in a little. I thought the pitch was probably at its best yesterday afternoon. Andrew gathered a wee bit of pace. We saw Josh Little bowl as good a spell yesterday, and no surprise, he was the man of the match with 3 for 8 in the guts of his complement of overs. Bowled with real pace, kept the ball up to the bat, and troubled all batsmen that he bowled to. So Shane Getgate doing a job trying to keep things as straight as he can. Interesting too that Shane Getgate used less and less with the ball. Can be quite expensive, Shane, but his batting has come on in leaps and bounds.
Worked into the leg side, protection out there. It's the final over the power play, just 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. Real old fashioned field, both fine leg and 3rd man up in the circle, and the 2 cover sweepers. You don't see that too often. Deep extra cover and deep mid wicket. So just one protecting each side of the wicket. Space down the ground for Singh to work, which is where he likes to chase. But he's not able to use his feet necessarily without risk. Doherty up to the stumps. He's going to look for the ramp scoop shot, which doesn't quite come off. Good stop from Stephen Doherty with the gloves.
Yeah, it did well. Obviously, Simi Singh does advance a lot, even to the medium pace, and sure, Gary Wilson encouraging him to come up to the stumps. Helmet going on and off, which is quite interesting. Nearly with each delivery.
But it's clearly a defined tactic, a very different tactic to the 2 right-handed batsmen. You can see there Getgate going hard into the pitch, back of a length to Dockrell. The keeper comes up to the stumps to Singh to stop him dancing down the track. 6 overs gone. That's the power play done and dusted. There's the crowd. They've come in big numbers. Gorgeous day, Alan, isn't it?
Beautiful day, and of course, probably a reason for that. It was, of course, a full complement of club cricket all round the island of Ireland. And again, a lovely panoramic view there of what we love to see. People coming in to watch cricket, Andrew.
Yeah, fantastic to see. This is the 5th game of the IP20 festival this weekend. It's been back-to-back festivals, really successful festivals as well. First one down in Pembroke Cricket Club in Dublin, and here today in the beautiful Northwest. You're talking with the Visit Derry CEO on Friday, day 1 of the festival. You can see why it's such a wonderful place to come and visit. You were in the city centre last night, Alan?
Yeah, gorgeous city. That drive-in over the bridge, beautiful sunset. Fantastic, and lovely clean city. That's one thing I noticed. Very clean and good feeling and a good atmosphere. Lovely place to come, and a lot of fellas out in the street early this morning.
Macbeth continues to be very, very full. Yelps from the fielders. I think they felt that if Graham Kennedy could have affected the direct hit from backward point, Simi Singh, not for the first time in this innings, might have been caught short.
Yeah, but it's an aspect that I've begun to like. Simi Singh could have sometimes got stuck, but I've certainly noticed he was well in there, Andrew, is that his running between the wickets, and of course he's with one of the best. Something I really like about George Dockrell's play. Never an ambled one with George Dockrell anywhere in the deep.
Macbeth been really impressive since coming into the Warriors side this weekend. Direct hit is definitely going to be out this time. And it misses. He's felt like he had an eternity. Nathan Maguire there at short mid-wicket. Almost maybe too long to line up the stumps. Probably had about a stump and a half to aim at Allen. Couldn't find the direct hit. Singh would have been gone.
God, he just went a bit on the shot here. He sluggishly started and really direct hit in no man's land. I just wonder, could Macbeth have got back to the stumps? Probably not there. And really, no one even around the mid-off extra cover, perhaps get gay, but it really needed a direct hit.
Continues to go really, really full and driven straight down the ground. A glorious stroke from George Dockrell. He's been elusive to get away so far this weekend, Macbeth, but Dockrell treats him with a conventional cricket stroke straight down the ground. That's where all his power lays with the bat. This is a really good shot.
Well, it certainly is, and I think whenever, as a batsman, you get a shot straight back down the ground with exquisite timing, it's the one that perhaps gives you as much pleasure as any.
Nicely bowled, just the hint of shape away. What about the hip movement from our umpire Alan Neal? Dancing to get out of the way. Good evasive action taken by him.
Reminds me of you, Leonard, about 2 in the morning. Hip movement.
I think you're the one known for the dancing between us, Alan.
Dancing with the Stars, of course. You. Glad you remember. Take on any challenge, Lenny.
Could never forget that video I've seen of you, Alan. Dancing for charity, of course, in fairness to you, so we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Dockrell thuds that towards extra cover. He'll have been disappointed with the way he got out yesterday. It was really a long half volley from David Delaney. He just pumped it straight to Paul Sterling. That same position at extra cover.
Yeah, he's just one of those things. I think he was just dismayed himself that he actually did it. But, Paul Sterling made the catch look pretty straightforward and simple. Took a number of catches yesterday, actually, Paul Sterling.
Worked into the leg side. It'll just be a single. So 7 runs coming from that over. 7 overs gone. Lightning going at exactly a run a ball. That's not going to be enough, Alan. It's 42 for 2.
No, but I think in any of these games, as we've seen, Northwest Warriors in the first game were run a ball after 10 overs and then went to 10s for the remaining 10. So it's just a matter of how you play it. We haven't seen spin. I'm sure we'll see it quite shortly. Kennedy, who vied for the Man of the Match award yesterday, Andrew McBride still to bowl a compliment, but they're persevering with seam here, and I'm sure this was something that was spoken about last evening and again in the game of cat and mouse as we have it tactically.
I wonder, is this a little bit player specific as well? We talk about the matchups. We've seen the Warriors be so flexible with who's bowling each one of their overs. Singh in particular loves spin. Dockrell very powerful down the ground, shorter straight boundaries here at Breedy. So perhaps just trying to protect the boundaries really. And they're going to take the risk of going with another over of Get Gate, but he's got the big leg side boundary, of course, to give him that added protection. And the Warriors won't mind 6-7 and over at the moment.
Certainly not. And again, as is customary, outside the power play, we've got deep square, deep mid-wicket, long on. No one saving one on the leg side. We saw quite a number of 2s kind of skillfully played out with pace by the batsman yesterday, which is, of course, a clever tactic. Get yourself offside of the ball.
Edged and dropped. It's the subfielder, I believe, Varun Chopra, who is on. I think he's just come on this over. I'm not exactly sure for who. We'll try and get that checked for you. Hasn't got a game this weekend, but it's flown quickly to Varun Chopra, who's in the circle at third man, and he's immediately shelled it.
I'm just wondering who he's on the field for. Is it William McClintock, perhaps?
Yeah, good eyes, Alan. It is indeed William McClintock. Simi Singh got a life yesterday. He's got another one today.
Well, it's something you speak about with batting. You know, it's such a game of pluses and minuses, and you do need luck. I don't care what anyone says. As a batsman, there'll be days you nick. It could be just short of a slip, Other days you're out to a miraculous catch. We've seen that with Kevin O'Brien as an example yesterday.
Just going to be a single as Ross Allen, who took a fine catch out there at deep extra cover. He's operating at deep square leg there, is quick off the rope. And that's good game awareness, isn't it, from the Warriors? It's a long, long way out there. That boundary probably about 90 yards to the leg side. And both of those boundary riders are about 5 to 10 yards off, watching the shape of the shot, anticipating whether to attack the ball or not. But again, the Warriors don't mind this. Every over that goes by without a boundary conceded, they'll feel like they're not just getting ahead of the game, they'll feel like they've got the winning of this match.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Stephen Doherty, 12th man, is on and off like a yo-yo here. And again, you'll remember those 5 runs conceded, ball hitting the helmet down in the Mardyke a fortnight ago.
Down the leg side will be signalled wide. You won't meet too many greater students of the game, studiers of the game, than Gary Wilson, Warriors head coach, of course, who's come across from the NCU to take up the position here. And he'll have analysed the fact that one solitary hit of that helmet could be the difference in a match. And that's why we've got the 13th man running on and off with that helmet so regularly to Stephen Doherty, taking no risks. Edged and dropped for the second time today. Simi Singh has a really difficult chance standing up to the stumps for Stephen Doherty. Got probably just his right glove on it, but again it's gone down.
Well, that's the gamble. You know, again, had he been back there, it would most likely have been a comfortable catch away to his right hand side. But it was off a thick edge, and you could have a certain sympathy for Stephen Doherty.
Yeah, let's take a look at that points table, Alan, because this is what we're playing for. We're arguably playing to keep the season alive. You'd think that if the Warriors got a big win here today, they'd move to 22 points. The next best that the Reds or the Knights could get to is 13, and with only 3 games each left in the series, would the Warriors be moving into a position that they can't lose the IP20 from?
It'd be very difficult to see them losing if they win here today. And again, if the Lightning, not to suggest they could even do with a bonus point if they could get it within 3, which would mean a win, could do it for them.
Hit down the ground, and is this going to be another chance for Simi Singh? It is. Andy McBride and William Porterfield almost collide. Both of them said mine. McBride apologises to Porterfield, 2 of the best fielders you'll ever see going around Irish cricket. One of them was always going to catch it. It just happens to be Andy McBride that clings on instead of William Porterfield.
Yes, indeed. This was really cloth by Simi Singh, and again, those types of collisions, they too but worry me. But Andy McBride was very firm that was going to be his catch, and Simi Singh has departed. Never really settled, I would say, Simi Singh. There you are, 12 from 15 deliveries. Missed twice in terms of catches dropped by the Warriors, and advancing to the wicket now is Lorcan Tucker.
Singh gone for 12 from 16 deliveries. A really good catch held by Andy McBride, who just had the most minor of collisions with William Porterfield. Good to see that a big incident was avoided there. Dropped twice in the previous over. Singh couldn't take advantage of the lives that he was given. He's gone for 12 from 16. As you said, never really got going. A huge moment in the match now. The last Leinster Lightning batsman who's really in any form of any kind coming to the crease in the form of Lorcan Tucker. You'd think a big partnership here for the Lightning, or else it's going to be the Warriors' game, surely.
But certainly the way things are going, there's no one really who has stamped any sort of authority this morning. Kevin O'Brien swished and missed a lot, and Balbirnie held out to deep extra cover. Simi Singh never really settled, and Tucker played beautifully yesterday, to be fair.
Got to remember as well, Tucker 51 from 27 deliveries as the Leinster Lightning posted 182 in the first of the 2 fixtures between these sides down in Pembroke last week. That was a real thrilling match. Northwest Warriors getting over the line thanks to that Craig Young cameo right at the end.
Extraordinary. And he batted ever so well yesterday, 102.
It's hit in front of square on the offside, so plenty of time for Dockrell to get back for 2. Really is so technically correct. Big high elbow there, right up on his tippy toes. How much talent does Lorcan Tucker possess? And are there times that he frustrates some of the Irish fans? He kind of flatters to deceive at points?
Well, I think so. Like, he's remarkably talented. He's a 360 player. He has all the shots. We all know that. I think at the start of his international career, I think, which is I'm going to say somewhat understandable, particularly in an Ireland jersey, is just to get used to the pace. And of course, it's something that, you know, when we talk about the era from 07 to 15, most of the players were experiencing that sort of thing, of course, across the water in county cricket. So that when they made that step up to the international stage, it was that little bit easier, particularly, you know, getting forward to the ball.
Did you feel that innings against Afghanistan, where he started to show the world his power? I think it was 80 odd, with some big sixes down the ground, in particular at Abu Dhabi, felt like a bit of a coming of age knock for him?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt Lorcan's ability, and I think to a certain extent, I'm not too sure whether, you know, 5 is the right position for Lorcan in terms of, you know, where he might bat.
Bats a lot at number 6 for Ireland, of course, as well. Got to remember, the wicket keeping perhaps not the most natural thing to him. He's come to it a little bit later in his career. It's a very difficult thing to do, isn't it? Go out, particularly in an ODI, keep for 50 overs. Every single delivery could be a critical chance. It could change the game, and then you've got to go out and do it with the bat.
Absolutely. And I kind of think, you know, within that sphere of things, you've, you know, probably Matt Pryor, when he played for England, wasn't the best wicketkeeper, obviously an outstanding batsman, and he took time to get into his wicket-keeping, and I think that's an area of Lorcan's cricket that's improved enormously. I think his glove work has genuinely improved. I think he's worked hard on it, and it's a question of, you know, where probably in that Irish batting line. I mean, you make a very valid point, Andrew, in the sense of, you know, the concentration required, and then you may be required to open the batting. Of course, it's something that Adam Gilchrist did in 50 over cricket. Not alone did he do that, he opened the batting. So, you know, it's not uncommon.
Warriors going to continue with seam. They're sticking to a really simple game plan today. No sign of Andy McBride, no sign of Graham Kennedy, no sign of Ross Allen yet. Getgate's going to continue. Beautifully bowled, just a little bit of movement away. Just half an appeal really from Stephen Doheny behind the stumps. Might have been a flick of something, if anything. Maybe it looked to me like the back hip of Lorcan Tucker, but maybe no contact with anything at all.
See, it's that area there, Andrew. Let's have a look at this. Like, just Lorcan, he's opened his out, his right shoulder's come across, he's on the move. That's the type of kind of thing that gets exposed. You need that left shoulder and head coming towards the ball.
He's a little bit like Simi Singh, isn't he? He loves coming down and getting fluency into his strokes. He works that into the leg side just for a couple. But he's a batsman who's added power to his game as well. He does still look quite slight, but he is strong, and he can clear the ropes, particularly straight down the ground, with ease.
Well, I think what he is he's a natural timer of the ball, and there's no doubting his power, as he showed yesterday, showed throughout this competition. And I think another thing that's going to happen here, and the bit that I'm going to really enjoy if this partnership is prolonged, you've got two of the quickest guys, and I can nearly hear George Dockrell with enthusiasm saying, two. And Tucker, of course, one of the quickest in the team, invariably responds.
Lightning have a lot of work to do here, though. Wasp is hovering around 140. Long way to go for the Lightning to get up to that. Dockrell's going to work down to the leg side, and as you said, immediately he wants to. But Lorcan Tucker holds out his arm and says, no, can't get back for you, skipper. Be too risky. Doesn't look like the Lightning have a single boundary option at the moment.
No, they certainly don't, and I'm trying to work out, even in my own head, is there just a wee bit of sluggishness in the pitch?
Slower ball, but right into the block hole and full enough for Tucker to get it into the leg side. And again, it's nicely weighted by Tucker. Dockrell was the one driving the return for two there. perhaps both these batsmen just recognising the fact boundaries are going to be hard to come by, and they have to start thinking, we're not going to be content with 5 or 6 and over. We need to find a way to get 8, 9, 10 and over without a boundary.
Well, look, the thing, Andrew, is there you are. Yes, we've got 6 already, but it's eradicating dot balls is the key.
Again, full enough from Gate to get away with a good wide Yorker. Good bowling from him. Just the 7 runs coming from the over. We reach the halfway point of the innings. It's exactly a run of ball for the Leinster Lightning. It's 60 for 3. I'll bid adieu for the moment to Alan Lewis. Welcome one of his ex-Ireland teammates. Did you ever play with Alan Lewis, Peter Gillespie?
Yeah, I was my first captain. I remember a very passionate speech he gave to a young myself, Gordon Cook, and Stephen Ogilvie in a hotel in Belfast.
Who was the game against, Peter?
It was prior to the Triple Crown series when Wade just got capped. We'd been brought in, and Mike Hendrick had just been installed as the coach, and they were looking to just change the direction of the team. And Louis came in and gave a very passionate speech about how Ireland had been previously happy losers, and he wanted to change the mentality and be winners.
Craig Young going to come back into the attack. It's been nothing but seam, Peter. And the brains trust of the Northwest Warriors, Andy McBride, William Porterfield, Gary Wilson, have seen something here to say we are not going to bowl spin. What is that? Is it something they read in the pitch this morning? Is it a pre-game plan that they've come up with Boyd Rankin, the bowling coach, overnight?
Yeah, probably a combination of both. I think they've definitely seen something in the pitch, because at this stage in every other game they've been quite happy to access their 3 spin options.
Look at that one, that's taken off. The additional pace of Young has seen that rise right well over the bat of Lorcan Tucker, and good carry through to Stephen Doherty. The Leinster Lightning at the moment, they cannot find a boundary. 4 overs now without a boundary. Can't afford to go that long in T20 cricket without finding the rope, can you?
Yeah, exactly, and I think Wasp speaks volumes to that. The last time I was in the commentary seat it was 150, it's 138 now. That tells its own tale, Lenny.
The way the Lightning are going, I think even 138 feels a long way away. They can't find the rope. 2 dot balls to start this over from Young. Even the seamers with lesser pace, Macbeth and Gate, proving very hard to get away.
Yeah, I had a quick word with the Warriors bowling coach, Boyd Rankin, there. He's very impressed with how his bowlers have stuck to the plans. They obviously have plans worked out for each individual batsman, along with certain match situations or scenarios, and it's coming together nicely at the moment.
Into the offside square, but again, singles. Dockrell, the captain, going at a run of ball. He knows that's not enough. Something has to give here. What's it going to be?
Well, anyone who's been watching over the last few days knows that this ground is capable of leaking that big over, that big 20 over, because of the short boundary. The breeze isn't as prominent today as it has been in previous days, but still it isn't a big hit. I would think that Leinster would just like to slightly regrip here, and
there is the big shot. This could be an opportunity. I think Craig Young himself is going to settle underneath it, and he's going to hold on to the catch. Lorcan Tucker could never find his timing on this wicket. I don't think any of the Leinster Lightning batsmen have really been able to. He's ended up skying one. I think he was looking to go straight down the ground. A good catch from Craig Young. And brilliant bowling from the Warriors. Great execution of their plans, as you said, Peter Gillespie.
yeah, that shots came about, Andrews, out of sheer pressure, as you've mentioned numerous times. Boundaries have really dried up. Earlier, Simi Singh, Kevin O'Brien found boundaries hard to come by, but they were a rotating strike. They were happy to keep things ticking over, but it's got to the stage of the game where, as you said, you feel that something's got to give. The pressure was telling on the Leinster Lightning, and the release shot came. Unfortunately, it's led to the demise of Lorcan Tucker, but it was a great cotton ball. That went pretty high.
It also looked to spiral, I think, a little bit to me. You could see from Young's foot movement as he was trying to settle underneath it. He was kind of staggering about a little. But I think the key to that catch reverse cup is the way to go with one that's gone that high. Gives you much more chance to cling on. Almost gives you the double chance if it does pop out. Going to be Tim Tector in at number 6. And the big problem for the Leinster Lightning is, got to remember, debutant Gavin Hoey playing his second game today. He's going to be in at number 7, very inexperienced at this level. Tector, just 17 years of age, being shy of runs. If you look at the run scorers for the Lightning, they've been relying so heavily upon Simi Singh and George Dockrell. Very few other contributions from the reigning champions order.
Yeah, I think the team as a whole will be disappointed with their collective contribution. It's been down to one or two individuals over the past number of games, and they'll want to address that very quickly.
A short ball, probably too short. You would have thought going over the head of George Dockrell, and Rowley Black, the square leg umpire, immediately indicates to Alan Neal, the standing umpire, he outstretches his arms. So the standing umpire gives that as a wide. Good decision. Yeah,
I'm very impressed with his approach from Craig Young. You can see he's a fast bowler. You can see he's a fiery redhead, and he's really looking to stamp his authority here on George Dockrell. Just saying, I'm not going to let you comfortably come on the front foot.
Well bowled, Youngie, is the shout from Andy McBride, the captain, and the Irish teammates ended up having a bit of a hug, a bit of a smile. Good teammates, good friends, of course. Young and Dockrell played a lot of cricket together all the way up. 11 overs gone. The score is 62 for 4. The Lightning in big trouble. Peter, how impressive have these Northwest Warriors bowlers been? Just seamers used so far. Let's take a look at their figures.
Yeah, there you go. The graphic tells its own tale. I think Graham Hume slightly unfortunate to be sitting at 8 and over. As you said, normally at this stage in every game they have access to spin options. They do have the two left armers in Graham Kennedy and Ross Allen. And then they have the experience of Andy McBride, which is coming on now from the Mason Road end. But Graham Hume, that one over that he went for, a 4, a wicket, a 4, almost the same delivery, the same shot. Two of them just beat the fielder either side, and then one straight to the fielder. Has amplified his figures slightly, but as a collective, it's been a very impressive effort.
We are going to see spin for the first time today. Spin in the form of the captain, the off breaks of Andy McBride. Ryan Macbeth into the squad this weekend, the brigade seamer. He's been really impressive. I think all of the batsmen have found him very difficult to get away as Tector faces up to McBride.
Yeah, and if you see the Warriors bowling attack, he's a great foil for that. You're coming up against Graham Hume, very skillful bowler. You're coming up the speed and the aggression of Craig Young.
Tector will get off the mark down the ground. The youngest of the three brothers. No sign of Jack Tector in the Lightning starting 11 today. He misses out for a third time in a row.
And then, as I say, you have Ryan Macbeth coming in then. Very intelligent, very smart bowler. He's mixing up Yorkers with a skitty medium and good variation in slower balls.
The immediate call is 2 from George Dockrell. He's going to want to get back. Tim Tector's going to need to get moving. And if Andy McBride could have collected, good work by Ross Allen. He chose the right end. I think Dockrell was always getting back to the keeper much quicker than Tector there, it seemed like. But have a look at this. Could McBride have collected, or did you just kick and raise a little bit on him, the throw on the bounce?
Oh, I think he'll rue a missed opportunity there, Lanny.
Just going to be the single this time as Craig Young picks up. His fielding's improved out of sight, Craig Young, since his elevation on a more permanent basis into the Irish side, has to be said.
Yeah, I think the Warriors in general have really upped their game this year.
Beats Tector outside the off stump. That one just maybe going on with the arm a little. No real turn for McBride.
Yeah, he does mix that. He does mix that variation. He's like Simi Singh. He's a very clever bowler, without any discernible change in action. One ball can turn, one ball can just skid on with the arm, and there's a reason why he's played so much for Ireland and done with success.
Yeah, flatter this time, and just really a leading edge from Tim Tector. So he's going to keep the strike. Just the 5 runs coming from the first over of spin in the innings. 12 overs gone. The team on the top of the table are all over the reigning champions right now. It's 68 for 4.
Yeah, we were hoping for a titanic clash here today, and so far I wouldn't say it's been one-way traffic, but certainly the Warriors in the ascendancy at the moment, and they'll be looking for another big 8 overs from their bowlers to close this innings out. as they did yesterday and previous days. And Ryan Macbeth continues. As I say, he's a very clever bowler.
Peter, we've been talking a lot, particularly off air, about the evolution of the modern T20 game, the importance of boundary hitting, the importance of targeting maximums. 5 fours in this over. 5 fours in this inning so far for the Leinster Lightning. No more. That's just not enough in 12 overs.
No, and that tells its own tale. I'm a big exponent of boundary hitting, accessing your boundary options. They don't get scores of 160, 170 by rotating strike alone.
We are going to maybe see the shackles lifted. Probably not where Tim Tector was looking to hit that ball. Probably looking to go squarer over the offside. It flies off the outside edge. The first time Macbeth's been a little bit shorter. Been very full throughout his overs so far. This time back of a length. Some seam movement. And Tector gets it away to the rope.
Yeah, I can only imagine that's not where he wanted that delivery to go based on the field he has. But a welcome boundary for Leinster Lightning.
Back to his fuller delivery, which seems to be his stock delivery, over pitch to full toss, but Tector can only get it away for the single. What do you do here if you're the Leinster Lightning? Wasp still hovering around 130. You still need to be thinking north of that if you can, surely.
Absolutely. We find this pitch very hard to read. We feel 150, 160 is par. I think it was a disappointing performance from the Knights yesterday. We thought it was a chaseable target where you have to bat well, but you can bowl well.
Hit just wide of what would have been a spectacular catch. I think it's Craig Young. I got to check on that, but he dove full length to his right. It went very quickly to him, and Craig Young has nearly held on to another absolute specky. We've seen a few this weekend. This would have been right up there with the very best of them.
Yeah, again, a bit of width and offer. Craig Young made fantastic ground to get anywhere near that, Lenny. And unfortunately, it's just clipped the fingertips. But how many times have we seen that today? How many times have we seen boundaries in that short third man area? Catches go to hand there. The Warriors have caught one, they've put one down, and almost another one there again.
Off the under edge, this one not carrying through. Macbeth continuing to cause problems. I don't know, is it because the Leinster Lightning haven't seen a lot of him? Does have a slightly unorthodox action, just comes a little bit round arm, and none of the batsmen are seeming to be able to pick up the trajectory of Macbeth's deliveries.
Yeah, I was talking about him as a foil to someone like Hume who really comes over his head to bowl. Young, who really bowls hard back of a length, both guys up in the 80s. And then you have Ryan Macbeth coming skiddier, very hard, difficult to get under, and then they're guessing with his changes of pace and his lengths.
Squares Tector up, a direct hit again would have been very close. It's been all action so far this morning. It seems like every single ball there's almost an opportunity for the Northwest Warriors. Thus is the panic in the Lightning batting camp at the moment. Just seeing a few signs here. You'll see it on the replay. There has been some reasonably significant movement from the pitch, though, something we haven't seen a huge amount of. We've seen balls stopping in the pitch, but some lateral movement today.
I think at the start of the morning yesterday, when the Warriors bowled first again against Munster, Craig Young did get a bit of movement back in, but nothing sort of to this scale. But it's getting some movement in the air, getting some movement off the pitch.
Powerfully down towards Andy McBride, who makes a really good stop. Good execution of skills there. He's committed to going reverse cup right from the start. The ball is kept low from the outfield, and he's crouched really low and managed to get the block in, saves a boundary.
Yeah, that was travelling at some speed. As you see in the replay there, again slightly fuller from Macbeth, and Andy getting across and getting a great stop in there. I think I was talking to Andrew Blair White earlier on the last comedy stint about the overall fielding standard in the competition. Has been, I know the Warriors have put down a few chances today, but I think overall the standard of fielding throughout the competition in general has been absolutely fantastic. None better than Ross Adair and Jeremy Lauder yesterday in that Leinster Lightning innings.
Yeah, the more you look back at that Ross Adair catch, the better it gets, actually. Seen that flying around the social media feeds last night. That's going to be surely signalled wide down the leg side, even though Dockrell gave himself a little bit of room outside the leg stump. Still no sign of either of the left arm spinners, Peter.
Yeah, and as Andy continues, it's pushed out to deep, out to the deep, and thought about 2 for a second there, but changed their mind. Yeah, I mean, I can only think that, you know, there's certain game plans to these batsmen at the moment, because, you know, the left armers have been so successful. Ross Allen, Graham Kennedy. You know, I thought it would be an option from, you know, maybe that Mason Road end with the bigger boundary, but Andy's not called on them as yet.
Tim Tector has just chipped that one back to Andy McBride, who barely even celebrates. That was a very tame dismissal indeed. McBride, all he does is put the ball in his pocket. It was that simple, just back of a length. I think Tector probably trying to use his depth of his crease and work it into the leg side, but he does not look happy with himself whatsoever. Another one of the Leinster Lightning batsmen falls.
Yeah, real smash and grab there by the skipper. That's a bonus wicket, I feel, Lenny. You know, I think he's really given that one away, whether it may be held slightly in the pitch, because he did open himself up. He did look to just turn that onto the leg, or at least look as if that's what he was trying to do, but in the end he's just chipped it straight back to Andy McBride, who's gratefully accepted a cotton bowled, and Tim Tector trudges off is the best way I can describe it, and another wicket falls. 80 for 5 of 13.2 overs, and that brings the
big pressure on the young Gavin Hoey, Peter, to the crease. He's going to come in at number 7.
Again, these young lads are being exposed by the wickets that Lightning have been consistently shipping early in their innings. We've seen this time and time again over the last couple of weekends. It happened yesterday for a while, but they still managed to get up to a defendable total. Lenny, you want George Doctor to bat as many of these remaining overs as he can.
And we're going to have not quite copycat dismissals, but back-to-back wickets for Andy McBride. He's on a hat-trick. Brilliant bowling from the Northwest Warriors captain. The 2 youngsters from the Leinster Lightning have both been dismissed, caught and bowled by the experienced Andy McBride. Brilliant off-spin bowling.
Yeah, he bowled out a bit flatter, just bowled it into the deck, and again, Gavin Hoey has with Tim Tector, looking to access the leg side, but he looked more of a genuine age that time. He looked to turn his bat a bit early. It didn't come on as quick as he thought, and that's just looped back to Andy McBride, who gratefully accepts another cotton ball and is on a hat-trick.
Yeah, not sure if he put that one in his pocket as well, but he's got the Leinster Lightning batsman in his pocket at the moment. Back-to-back wickets. Nobody giving George Dockrell any support. This is turning into a bit of a procession. Can we see the second hat-trick in the history of the Interpros? Just one has happened before. If Andy McBride is going to do it, he's going to need to find the wicket of big Barry McCarthy. Tyrone Kane is the only man, the current Munster Reds captain, who's not in action with that ankle injury from last week, who's taken into Interpro hat-trick. Can McBride do it? Watchful from McCarthy, keeps the hat-trick ball out. Brilliant bowling this.
Yeah, he certainly asked the question there. He's showing all his experience now. He's putting his team firmly in the driving seat.
Slower through the air, teasingly tempting from Andy McBride. McCarthy will get off the mark. Craig Young kicks the turf. Don't see that too often from Craig Young. Much more level in his emotions, but disappointed with his fielding there.
Absolutely not. He's a fiery fast bowler. He's a redhead. Craig's going to let off steam. He's going to let off steam.
Shows the standards the Warriors are setting. Dockrell can't get that past Andy McBride. Brilliant from McBride. Brilliant off-spin bowling. Brilliant fielding. 2 cotton bowls. A diving stop. Just 3 runs coming from the over. And crucially, the 2 wickets. The Northwest Warriors further turning the screw on the Lightning.
Yeah, it's been a terrific performance from the Warriors so far. And no more so from their skipper, Andy McBride. He's been patrolling the boundary. He's took a great catch, almost colliding with William Porterfield. 2 wickets in that over and a diving stop, as you say. He's really putting his hand up, playing the skipper's role so far today.
Have a change in bowling again. Looks to me like we may just see the 5 bowlers used for the Northwest Warriors. Not going to see the left arm spinners, Ross Allen and Graham Kennedy, it feels like. But why would the Warriors need to change anything right now? It's working for them. Graham Hume back into the attack from the pavilion end. McCarthy will prefer the little bit of pace on the ball. Certainly very capable of clearing the ropes himself. He's going to need to help get the Lightning up to anything of a defending total here. What is going on here, Peter? Is there something with the pitch, or the Warriors just outclassing the Lightning?
I definitely think the conditions have helped the Warriors today. I think they've exploited them to the maximum. Unless it's, you'd think at this stage, maybe with a bit of sun on for a couple of days, that it's got a little bit drier, it would favour more spin. But the Warriors are really comfortable with their seam options today, and I mean, an 81 for 6, as you said, it's the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
That's all McCarthy needs to do for the moment, is try to get George Dockrell onto strike. Dockrell's been going consistently at a run of ball. With Brian already taken 3 catches today. Ger Siggins just letting me know that is equal IP20 record. Himself, Andy McBride has done that before. James Shannon and Mark Adair all taken 3 catches in innings. And Paul Sterling might have done it yesterday as well.
He did, yep.
Hit through the offside right, teasingly between backward point and extra cover. Just a little bit of lift, one of those ones sticking in the pitch again there. But
yeah, you can just see the way George shaped to play that shot initially, that it climbed a bit on him. He thought he was in control and then ended up playing it slightly more uppish than I'm sure he would have imagined. But he'll take any run he can get his hands on at the moment.
straight to the mid-wicket fielder, Nathan Maguire, who's going to throw down the stumps. A big appeal, but Dockrell has got back. What a piece of fielding from Nathan Maguire. Thrown with such force, it cannons the stump out of the ground. Alan Neal had got into position quickly. Is this close? Was it out?
As we see the replay here. I think that's third umpire material, Lenny. Very close to call. All action happening there, but it was a great pick up and throw from Nathan Maguire.
He'd missed one earlier in the innings, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Which would have been, without doubt, out. That one much, much tighter. There's no doubt if we had the TV facilities, we would have seen Alan Neal going up to the third umpire. I'm going to see if I can bring it up on my screen in front of me. You can do this at home as well. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, press the little settings button there on your screen. Slow it down to quarter speed as you scroll back through the action. McCarthy gets that one through the offside for a single.
But how often do we see on those TV replays, Lenny, where the margins are so fine, and more often than not, since they've brought in the advent of the TV umpire, that those tight run-outs tend to be out more often than they're not. But that technology is not available, obviously, to the umpires today, so you had to make an on-field call.
Dockrell is quick, though, as well. You've got to remember that.
Yeah,
Peter,
scrambling to get back.
Great work from Nathan Maguire either way. Worked into the leg side this time by Dockrell, but that's the shorter side of the ground, so it'll just be a single. The excellence from the Northwest Warriors in the field and with the ball continues. 15 overs gone. They are looking to tighten their grip on this IP20 title. They're top of the table at the moment. They're looking for all money, like they're going to extend their lead at the top of the table. With 5 overs to remain, myself and Peter Gillespie will take a break. Pass over to Alan Lewis and Andrew Blair White. The score, 85 for 6.
You're an experienced campaigner, mate. You've done this before.
And there you have it, the scorecard. Doesn't make pretty reading. George Dockrell gives you an indication, 26 from 26 deliveries. Gives you an indication, and the rest, well, not good, and no significant partnerships either. Andrew?
No, it's been a real struggle. The last 5 or 6 overs for the Leinster Lightning. Yet again, slightly faltering in that middle order. George Dockrell really playing a lone hand here. Himself and Barry McCarthy have to try and get through this next couple of overs. And then try to build upon something and try to get themselves up to maybe a 130, 135 score. See whether they can get a few early wickets and maybe put a bit of pressure on this Northwest Warriors side.
Well, I'm sure Andrew McBride thought all his Christmases had come together. to see Gavin Hoey do much the same thing as Tim Tector, handing him back to dollies, really. And I dare say it would have been even more interesting. I don't think we get a replay from square of the wicket, but when Nathan Maguire hit bullseye, one wonders, was George Dockrell back?
That's good rotation from these two, just ticking away. I think at this stage, you know, an awful lot of damage has been done for the Leinster Lightning, but they've got to make sure that they try to get just something on the board here. Try to give themselves a chance. But it's been yet another very impressive display so far from the Northwest Warriors bowling and fielding unit. Hence the 16th over. The Leinster Lightning 91 for 6.
Well, I think the interesting thing for me, Andrew, is, you know, their game preparation, and look at those bowling figures there. Mightily impressive. Macbeth is 4 overs, 2 for 24. And again, McBride, the ever consistent Craig Young, spearheading up front, bowled with real pace again this morning. And I won't mention Graham Hume. That's very much an in-joke for our listeners.
Well, I gave the listeners exactly what they wanted in the second over today. In spirit of your good self.
Thank you.
I think this is a good call from Andy McBride, bringing Craig Young back into the attack for the 17th over, even though he is their premier seam bowler. They want to try and take a wicket here. You feel if they break this partnership that this innings just really can't get anywhere.
Well, I think the thing they've done incredibly is tactically, I was going to mention it a bit earlier, they bowl seam for 11 overs when perhaps the Lightning were expecting an Andrew McBride, potentially Graham Kennedy to bowl in the power play.
It's been an interesting ploy from the Northwest Warriors. We haven't seen Shane Getgate bowl too much in T20 cricket, but they've opted for that extra seamer today. No overs from Graham Kennedy, no overs from Ross Allen either, both with their left arm spin. And it's paid dividends for Andy McBride. Now, Alan, would you feel a little bit aggrieved if you were Graham Kennedy? 3 for 19 or 4 overs yesterday. Very nearly a player of the match performance. He hasn't even gotten an over today.
I knew you were going to come at me with that one, but you're absolutely right. But again, it's more the tactic of being able to get through Shane Getgate. Certainly bowled 1 over in the power play and did a job for his team.
It's over mid-off, over extra cover, should I say, from Barry McCarthy. It's slightly plugged, but it's gone away for 4. A first boundary for McCarthy, and can himself and Dockrell just give this Leinster Lightning innings a little bit of impetus at the end here?
Well, certainly Barry McCarthy much more comfortable against the quicker bowling than the slower stuff, and he bludgeoned that away, really. Big strong man, Barry.
Oh, that's really well bowled from Craig Young. I think it was a small change in pace. McCarthy was through his shot. He was trying to hit it pavilion way, but Craig Young's fought back and he's knocked another off pole out of the ground. Not the first time this weekend that he's done that.
Great bowling from Craig Young, as you say, Andrew. That just nipping back, slower ball, took pace off it, and he's bowled very cleverly here. Spearhead of the Irish attack, Craig Young, and that's a great piece of work from him, and a really disciplined performance by the team, Andrew.
It's been a superb performance from the Northwest Warriors in front of a bumper crowd here in Breedy. Sun's out, plenty of park cars on the small mound and up on the top pitch here. But for the first time today, we've seen actually people sitting outside their cars. They're usually residing inside, tooting horns. But it's such a lovely day. We're seeing deck chairs, picnic blankets.
And why wouldn't we, Andrew? Lovely blue skies overhead. Lovely scene, lovely ground breedy on a day like this. I've been up here. Some absolute shockers, freezing, 4 sweater jobs. And it's no joy at all. But it's a joy today, and it's a joy to see so many people in watching cricket. Exactly what players, spectators themselves, everyone wants.
Sharp delivery to the new man, Rory Anders. Gets it away for a single. Another good over, though, from the Northwest Warriors. Just 7 runs from it. And the wicket for Craig Young. Clean bowling Barry McCarthy ends the 17th over. The Leinster Lightning 98 for 7. And it's just been an innings that's never really gotten going.
Never got going at all from the start. And there you can see the Manhattan, and it doesn't really make pretty reading. A lot under 5, which will of course please the Northwest Warriors. There was a fair amount of swishing and missing and just wickets and clusters, and the Northwest Warriors, it has to be said, have outsmarted Leinster in my opinion.
Well, they've seemingly been an over or two ahead of the game throughout. And I thought there was a slightly circumspect start from Kevin O'Brien and Simi Singh. And I think, looking back on it there, if they just managed to have gotten out of the power play, still none down, if they'd gotten up to 36 without loss, those wickets in the 4th and 5th over have really changed the complexion of this game, as Rory Anders has hit that one straight down long on's throat. It's another wicket for Andy McBride. It's his 3rd. It's a good catch. I think it's Ryan Macbeth down there on the long arm boundary, and this miserable enough batting card for the Leinster Lightning continues their 98 for 8.
Well, he never really went through with that, Rory Anders. If you're going to go down the ground, you're going to look to hit, get the full extension, and really easy chance there for Macbeth down at long on. And the doom and gloom continues for the Leinster Lightning here, 98 for 8. As Josh Little makes his way to the crease, and if the Leinster Lightning are to muster anything really, George Dockrell has to chaperone a situation where he faces most of the balls, of which there are 16 left, and you kind of feel for this game to be in any way competitive, Andrew, they need to get to 130.
Yeah, it's looking a long way away at this stage. Josh Little again being called upon with the bat in hand. It's probably been too many times. From a Lightning perspective, where Josh Little has had to try to dig them out a bit of a hole at the end of an innings. But as I say, it's just been an innings throughout that has just struggled. No momentum, very few boundaries.
I have an interesting one for you after this delivery, Andrew. Interesting one with Josh. That if we played the game, what will happen next? You'd really probably have no idea with Josh. Very flamboyant character. Josh doesn't get too fussed about anything that's going on.
Short, pulled away by George Dockrell, and it's a much needed boundary for the Leinster Lightning. It was a drag down from Andy McBride, deserved to be dispatched, and George Dockrell needed no second invitation, pulling this one past Ross Allen.
Yeah, Andy McBride will be poor, disappointed with that absolute drag down, as you say, Andrew, and got the treatment it deserved from George Dockrell.
But more crucially for the Northwest Warriors, a dot ball to finish the over. It means Dockrell doesn't keep the strike. 18 gone. Andy McBride, 4 overs, 3 for 19 from his spell. Brilliant from the Northwest Warriors captain. The Lightning 104 for 8 with 2 overs to go.
You might have thought that Josh Little would have looked for one there. Andrew, tough for the keeper, having to turn, swivel. Obviously George Dockrell was a wee bit down the pitch, but he's got to get the man who's on 34 on as much of these 12 balls as he can. And of course this over to the shorter of the two ends. A lot of discussion going on between the two parties. The main emphasis really here is for Josh Little to get bat on ball somewhere.
I'd be interested though, fine legs in the ring. Josh is partial to a scoop shot, as we've seen on multiple occasions. Always has been from a young age. Very good hockey player, Josh Little, in his schoolboy days. Has all the tricks and flicks up the sleeve. But he does the right thing there. He does the sensible thing. Drives that one into the vacant cover region and gets his skipper back on strike.
That looked very orthodox from Josh Little there. I'm surprised, really.
Is he mellowing?
I don't know. No, I don't think Josh will mellow. That man of his own mind, which is always a good thing. And of course, it's not really here for his batting. It was his man of the match performance with the ball yesterday. Quickest spell of the weekend, I reckon. 3 for 8 for those that were watching. And now George Dockrell, interesting too, getting himself on off stumper just outside.
Oh, that's a brilliant shot from George Dockrell. Work to do for Andy McBrien, and he can't cut it off. Dockrell's just giving Leinster Lightning a sniff here. It was in the hitting arc from Graham Hume. It was still a tough one to get away for a boundary, but he's drilled it past extra cover, and it's gone for 4.
Well, this is a good tactic from George Dockrell. Just checking his setup. And again, he's there again. Actually outside off stump.
Oh, Graham Hume was adamant that that was out.
It's one of those ones, Andrew, when you can maybe catch a wee bit of the turf. It was certainly a wholehearted appeal from the bowler, not so wholehearted from the wicket keeper.
Very hard to have conclusive evidence from that. Alan Neil unmoved.
No Snicko here, of course.
No Snicko, but it's interesting to see Dockrell take this initiative. We've seen this wide line Yorker strategy being used an awful lot this weekend so far, with the deep backward point, the deep cover. But at the same time, we've seen probably very little innovation maybe from batters to try and combat that, and Dockrell really trying to by searching well across his stumps.
Well, again, the value of being full from Graham Hume. And if there's an area to bowl at the death, I don't think you should veer much off that if you can, Andrew. Largely one area of the ground. Obviously you see a lot of the more skillful players, they're able to deflect it square of the wicket, but you can see we've, again, very good positioning. Graham Kennedy backward a square there on the offside for that third man in the ring. Extra cover out. Clever.
There's a full toss from Dockrell. He'll be a little bit disappointed. They're scampering back for 2, and they've done so successfully. Good running from Josh Little. He knew that he had to get back. He had to try and get George Dockrell back on strike. It was wide of Porterfield at long on. Another 2 added to the board brings the Lightning to 111. Can they get up to even 125? 127? Just give themselves something.
Absolutely.
Wide called by Alan Neil, and Graham Hume doesn't look too ecstatic with that decision. Dockrell stuck in his crease this time round. Let that one go.
It's the gamble as a batter, isn't it, Andrew, when the adrenaline is flowing, not to potentially go for that, but I'm sure it was very, very close. Hume disappointed. Now Dockrell out of his crease on that off stump just outside, giving him really nothing to target. Well, that's very good from Graham Hume, it has to be said. His skipper will be very pleased with that effort in the penultimate over. But more importantly, George Dockrell is back on strike, and he's really been the mainstay of this Leinster Lightning innings. Captain showing great degree of responsibility when wickets were tumbling round him. Very difficult.
Yeah, no, it's been an excellent knock from George Dockrell in trying circumstances for the Leinster Lightning. 113 for 8 with an over to go. As I say, if they just manage to get up to 125, and we saw how well Josh Little and Barry McCarthy bowled with the new ball yesterday, just takes the Northwest Warriors being 10 for 2 in that run chase, chasing 125, do a few nerves, a few butterflies come in?
Well, I suppose they'd be somewhat nervous, but the only thing they'll be ecstatic with, they'd have taken this any day of the week before the game started. So, and again, probably in terms of the seam department, the two seam attacks, obviously the balance, Craig Young, and as you say, Josh Little, probably Leinster Lightning have the edge in the sense, as you say, if Barry McCarthy and Josh Little can start well.
That's a big shot from George Dockrell. Is it going to go all the way? It's just one bounce from Dockrell. It was an excellent shot, though, out to that massive boundary out at Cow Corner on this end of the ground. He was in the slot from Get Kate, and George Dockrell is really trying to give Leinster Lightning something here, just short of the rope.
I think the interesting thing here, and George Dockrell will know this, Get Kate's pace kind of suit Dockrell and what he's trying to do. They've got a potential. They're going to be looking for two here, Andrew, definitely. Josh Little will have to go, and indeed he does. That's good cricket from George Dockrell. Kind of half club that, got it high on the bat.
It's a good start to the over, though, for the Lightning. 4 off the first delivery now, a scampered 2. Gets them up to 119, makes sure that the Northwest Warriors will, at minimum, have to be chasing a run of ball now. And Dockrell on to 47. I'm sure the personal milestone won't be in his mind. It's trying to get up to 125, 128.
That is a slow bouncer. I think he'd hit 2 pull shots as that drifted over his left shoulder.
Yeah, it was very short dug in from Shane
Actually,
Getkate.
question, was that a wide, Andrew? Actually got up over head height.
Benefit of the doubt given to Getkate on this occasion. That's in the slot. And it's gone through. Andy McBrien's gone for 4. Brings George Dockrell to a half century. 51 from 42 deliveries. But most importantly, has gotten Leinster Lightning over that 120 mark. It was just in the slot from Getkate. Very hittable delivery. And he's gone and plundered it over the top for 4.
This is exactly that little bit of momentum. 2 balls to go. If they can get to the 130s, you'd never have thought so 15 minutes ago. But he's played an excellent role here, George Dockrell.
It's back of a length from Getkate and he smashed it away. Oh, but it's excellent work in the field. I think it's Graham Kennedy there at deep mid-wicket. He saved 2 runs. Getkate taking pace off the ball, a good option with that long boundary. Dockrell smoked it, but no boundary.
Great piece of fielding this from Graham Kennedy. And not alone did he stop it, but he got it in his hand immediately and back. It's probably never going to be any more than 2 anyway. Dockrell wanting to face the last delivery from Getkate. Again,
slower. Clubbed into the leg side, and it's going to have to be 2 again. Out to Ryan Macbeth. And that will finish off the innings. A profitable last over for the Leinster Lightning, but not enough profitable overs in that innings. George Dockrell with a superb 55 not out. But the Leinster Lightning 127 for 8, and at half-time you'd have to think, Alan, that they're a few runs shy of par.
Yes, you would think so, but as you spoke about earlier, a lot will depend. The game will be decided for me in the first 6 overs. If the Leinster Lightning can establish any sort of control, take wickets, it's going to be a task, but maybe not a big task, and the Northwest Warriors will be delighted with their effort here. I thought they were tactically very smart. Obviously, the odd thing is, virtually as you say, the man of the match from yesterday didn't get a bowl, Graham Kennedy, but they'll be delighted as a team with this effort. 127 for 8 Leinster Lightning, who struggled throughout, apart from George Dockrell. There's the card, Andrew.
Yeah, Dockrell, the mainstay, 55 not out for him from just 44 balls. Just 3 other men getting into double figures. Kevin O'Brien and Simi Singh both started with promise, but both departed after a start, and Barry McCarthy just getting to 11. That middle order again, lower middle order, just faltering ever so slightly, and the momentum was killed out of that innings in those middle overs from Andy McBride.
No doubt, and George Dockrell was sitting at the other end in that middle period. Just look there, the amount of wickets that fell around him, and he held the innings together. String of low scores. Tim Tector and Gavin Hoey going in exactly the same fashion as an example to Andrew McBride, but the only sort of momentum towards the end was with Barry McCarthy. But Dockrell did a stellar job to give his side a chance, Andrew. We say a chance, and here's the bowling figures.
Yeah, some excellent figures in there. Andy McBride leading the way with 3 for 19 from his 4. 2 wickets apiece for the impressive young man Ryan Macbeth, and 2 wickets again from Ireland's leading fast bowler Craig Young. 2 for 21 from him. And they bowled, and more importantly, fielded superbly as a unit.
Yeah, they really did, apart from probably 1 or 2 blemishes with catches, but their ground fielding was excellent. And interestingly, and we haven't seen a camera from side on, but had that throw from Nathan Maguire, George Dockrell, I'm not going to suggest for one moment because we can't see here, but he was struggling. And had he gone then, the Northwest Warriors may have been chasing under 100, but that's not what's happened out here. The Northwest Warriors are going to be chasing 127 for victory. There's the breakdown. George Dockrell, the mainstay of the innings. No Leinster Lightning batsman really established any sort of momentum. Some great bowling figures from the Northwest Warriors. Tactical acumen as well. You could clearly see that in their performance. And again, they were justified in winning the toss and bowling here this morning. So, they're the match stats. As the heavy roller is on, no surprise to see that take any moisture that might be on the top of that surface out of it. The chase is 128 to win for the Northwest Warriors to probably take an unassailable position in this championship, Andrew.
You'd have to think so, going into that third Interpro Festival, which is going to be in September time in the Northern Cricket Union. There's also been a few murmurs over maybe a 4th festival as well. Let's hope that might take place at some stage, because these sort of festivals are absolutely brilliant for Interpro cricket. But as always, in our half-time slot, we're going to hand you over to Andrew Leonard for his Beyond the Boundary segment. So we're going to join Andrew at pitch side just after a quick ad break.
Time to embrace the giant spirit of Derry Londonderry. Visit discovernorthernireland.com.
Smash It and It's Wicked are new action-packed fun programmes for kids to try out cricket at your club.
Attract new players and coaches to your club and grow the sport of cricket in Ireland.
Smash It is for children aged 5 to 9 and is all about having fun, trying out batting, bowling, fielding and wicket keeping.
It's Wicked is for girls aged 9 to 13 and is built on game-based cricket fun with friends.
Programmes contain 6 to 8 sessions of fun and safe training for kids.
Clubs will receive all the equipment you will need for your sessions.
And free activator training is provided to all clubs interested. Activators will receive free programming resources and an activator top and t-shirt.
Get your club involved today and have fun introducing more kids to cricket.
Sign your club up now.
Why cricket? Cricket is a great sport for all children regardless of gender, age or ability.
It's also a non-contact sport which promotes teamwork and individual skill development.
Participation is all about getting children active and excited about cricket through discovery and play. But this can't happen without a little bit of help, and that's where you come in.
Smash it and it's wicket. Rely on volunteers like you. As an activator, you will plan and deliver safe, fun and inclusive sessions that promote participation and create great experiences.
The importance of your role as an activator cannot be underestimated. You will help ensure that there is a new generation of players, fans, umpires, coaches, scorers and cricket leaders.
Yeah, good afternoon and welcome to Beyond the Boundary with me, your host Andrew Leonard. It's our 11th episode of Beyond the Boundary. We're into game 11 of the IP20 series. With some wonderful action over the course of the last few weeks and some wonderful chats in between the innings. I got Peter Johnson, the Ireland Wolves head coach, also the head of the Shapurli Palonji Cricket Ireland Academy. Pete, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, great to be here, Lenny.
Pete, you've been doing a bit with the Munster Reds before we get into what we're going to talk about this afternoon. You've been kind of helping Ted Williamson as almost assistant coach, is that right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Obviously, a lot of the players are based in Dublin, so running the hub out of Dublin and then assisting the team on match days as well. So they've been a great bunch of lads, and we're sort of on an upward curve, even though a bit of a hiccup yesterday. But yeah, no, it's been very enjoyable.
Seem a great bunch of guys to be around. I saw a lovely photo of you all last night on the walls of Derry, the whole Munster squad.
Yeah, no, the team spirit is excellent, and credit to them. Even when we were losing games, that spirit was always there, and we've looked to improve. And I think our fielding has come on a lot as well. So the guys are really putting the work in. So it's a great squad and well coached, obviously by Ted as well.
Yeah, we're here predominantly to talk about the new Cricket Ireland Future Series. 5 teams: the Munster Heat, the Leinster Lightning Bolts, the Emerging Knights, the Emerging Warriors, and the Irish Under-19s. Those 5 sides are going to play out in a series of 45 over matches, mainly from the 1st of July to the 21st of July. So that all gets going tomorrow, Pete.
Yeah, kicks off tomorrow in Oak Hill, the 19s against the Bolts. So that should be a good game. 4 T20s, 45 over games for each province. I think it's huge. I think it's probably come about from the need to bulk up our domestic programme without obviously county cricket now to rely on. And I suppose last season with COVID we started to get inter-squad games going, and they worked really well. And this year we've tasked our pathway manager Albert van der Merwe to come up with this emerging future series, and he's done a fantastic job. You'd obviously know Albie and his skills as a obviously former player, a coach, and then his umpiring. So in terms of all the logistics and rules and trying to get the most out of the competition, he's put in a fantastic effort.
These games used to happen a little ad hocly between unions. Cricket Leinster might have organised a Lightning Bolts game against a touring team, or maybe gone down to Munster for a match. But there's actually a proper structure behind them now. And how much of a difference is that going to make to the young cricketers coming through the system?
Yeah, I think it's huge. It's all part of succession planning, seeing guys in different skill sets. It's really about transitioning, from our youth interpros, our youth international squads, to the big step up to provincial cricket. And these games will give players that opportunity. I think last year we saw it was a big step up for Nathan Maguire. This year he's come back a lot better and he's in good form. Big step up for Seamus this year, but I'm sure he'll come good. But if we can bridge that gap a little bit and get these guys playing regular cricket, with a Cuckerber turf ball on good pitches, then I think we're really going to broaden that base, and that can only be a really positive thing.
Pete, you spoke about it there, the lack of access to county cricket for any Irish players. It's obviously as a consequence of the test status for Cricket Ireland. How can Cricket Ireland go about giving players the access to those facilities, the regular cricket, the regular training. There's these new hubs that are in place. Do you think we can bridge that gap to give the players the ability to be able to get through and get into that pathway towards the national team?
Yeah, I think we definitely can, and adding something like this to our programme is a big part of that. The hubs have been really helpful to get our guys on grass regularly. There's always improvements to be made, but I think we're heading the right direction, and the ambition and the desire is there to really bulk up our domestic programme, and that has to happen.
And has it been a case of working closely with not just the provincial unions but also the individual clubs hosting these matches?
Yeah, absolutely. Albert's been putting in a fantastic effort with the provincial unions to get it set up and to make sure that the provinces realise that this is a massive opportunity for them to broaden their base, their pool of talent. For the Munster Heat, for example, we're looking for players that are really indigenous in their unions as much as possible, and guys under 25, emerging guys. Munster Heat, it's a huge opportunity. We've had Matthew Brewster, Zubair training with the Munster guys. Aaron Coley's obviously a Munster man in the side, so they can see that sort of end goal, and it'll be a huge opportunity for them on the other sides.
Pete, it's almost a second era to your career, if you don't mind me saying. You spent a lot of time with the national team, initially as team analyst, then as assistant coach. Are you missing the tours with the men away, or are you happy now working with the next generation coming through?
Yeah, no, really happy. It's nice. Obviously, I was assistant coach for so long and doing the performance analysis as well. And now Scotty's come through. But no, personally, really happy to be, I suppose, leading a programme and the Wolves job. I love that as well. And it's been some fantastic tours with that. So you get a nice combination of obviously being here and then being away.
And what gives you most satisfaction as a coach? Is it seeing a potential next level star coming through, someone like a Nathan Maguire, like you mentioned there?
I think so, big time. And we were talking earlier about the 19s. Obviously the 19s are in this programme, and I think that's a huge opportunity for them, Ryan Eagleson, head coach, to have a series of matches. They've already played 4 games against the academy, and you can see them improving. We've probably never done that before, where they're getting to play together leading into a qualifying tournament.
Yeah, COVID's obviously led to a dearth of cricket for almost all the sides, but the Irish 19s in particular would have been affected by that. They've got a big summer. They'll play in this future series to help prepare them for that ICC European qualifier, where they'll go out to La Manga, and they will be playing out for just one spot from the European region to try and go to yet another Under-19 Cricket World Cup out in the Caribbean in January.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always a dogfight with our biggest rivals, obviously Holland and Scotland. Scotland predominantly, and Jersey are always on the up as well. Only 4 teams this time round, probably play each other twice, I would have thought. And to get to a World Cup in the Caribbean, and for these young players to experience that's a real cherry for them to aim for.
Yeah, we've referenced it quite a bit on the commentary, that particularly that World Cup in 2016 in Bangladesh. Plenty of the cricketers who've come through that are on show here, either in their provincial sides or someone like Lorcan Tucker's gone on to represent the national team. How important is an Under-19 World Cup to a group of young talent here in Ireland?
It's huge, and the last one we qualified for in New Zealand, Harry Tector was skipper, Josh Little sort of shone in that, JJ Garth, Aaron Coley is out here now. Those experiences are absolutely massive for those young players. So if we can give them the best opportunity to get there, and they can go out there and perform well, it's a really positive thing.
There's been issues not just in cricket but in all sports, a drop-off of players from that kind of 16-year-old age group onwards, not just stuff on the cricket field or off the sporting field, but other things in life come into play. College life comes into play, women, girls, all sorts of stuff you go and chase. How do we keep these players in the system, keep them engaged? Is the future series the key to that, to giving them an idea that they could have a life as a professional cricketer? Yeah,
100%. It's one of the keys. As I said, we've got the provincial youth programmes, the national squads, and now this emerging series to bridge that gap. Huge. Like, the opportunities are incredible and only on the up.
Finally, Pete, just before we let you go, the umpire's ringing the bell behind me. Don't want you to call out maybe too many individuals, but do you think that there is a future within this Irish Under-19s group that can replace that golden generation of players that you would have worked with as the Ireland assistant coach over the years? Yeah, no, we've been, I think, pleasantly surprised. It's been a challenging 18 months for those young guys, as you said, but the more they play together, and well led by Tim Tector, Nathan Maguire, some really good sort of experienced players in there, and some younger guys coming through. I think there's a lot of talent in the squad. And you'd think those guys who are doing it here maybe at provincial level, still finding their feet a bit at provincial level, they're going to go back to the 19s level and dominate, will they? Well, let's hope so, yeah. Let's hope they can take all these tough experiences, because it's been great cricket, and bring them into the 19s and play their best cricket there. That's the thoughts of Pete Johnson, the Ireland Wolves head coach, the head of the Shapurji Palonji Cricket Ireland Academy as well. We do have a thriller potentially in store. Remember, if the Northwest Warriors can find a win here, this afternoon. They're going to extend their lead at the top of the table, may put themselves in an unparalleled dominant position, make themselves favourites for the IP20. Let's get over to Andrew Blair-White and find out if they can chase down this Leinster Lightning total of 127.
Yeah, thank you to Andrew Leonard and to Pete Johnson there. Some fantastic insight into the Ireland Wolves setup, the Irish Academy setup as well. And this is where it all bears fruit at Interpro level. Such a big run chase this in the context of this IP20 series. The Northwest Warriors will be very happy with their work in the first half, restricting the Leinster Lightning to 127. Wasp there on your screens gives the Warriors an 81% chance. Just over 4/5 of a chance to get this job done. But we've seen just how potent the Leinster Lightning opening bowlers can be. Barry McCarthy and Josh Little. In the 2 games this weekend, they've taken 2 wickets in the first over. And McCarthy's going to start from the Mason Road end. William Porterfield on strike. It's a good start from Porterfield as well. Driving just past extra cover. Simi Singh does the job and Porterfield gets off the mark. And Lewis returns beside me. And as you said just before we went off to Andrew Leonard for the beyond the boundary, this first 5-6 overs will tell us where this game's going to go.
Largely, yes. And William Porterfield post that spectacular innings in Pembroke last week has been in a very good touch. And he's going to be aggressive, I would imagine. Oh, that's very close indeed, and indeed it's gone. Yeah. Stephen Donny stuck in the crease there, Andrew, wasn't he?
Yeah, again, another quick wicket for the Leinster Lightning, and it's Barry McCarthy again. He targets the stumps, and he's caught Stephen Donny, as you say, just in between. He's not forward, he's not back. I think that was cannoning into leg stump. Rowley Black's given it out, and it's exactly what the Leinster Lightning needed, and for us as unbiased spectators, it's exactly what the game as a spectacle needed.
Absolutely, and again it's something that you talked about in commentary. The Leinster Lightning have taken wickets early, and this is going to be a testing chase, but calm heads are required, and no calmer than the man at the non-striker's end, William Porterfield. But a great opportunity now for Nathan Maguire, elevated to 3 in this format of the game. And I'm sure Barry McCarthy will be zoning in on or just outside off stump. I'm actually surprised that Leinster haven't got a second slip in there.
I suppose it's just with potentially the lack of runs they have to defend, but I've always been convinced McCarthy bowls with a little bit more zip, especially when he's taken an early wicket. He's a rhythm bowler, he loves taking wickets, he loves hitting those stumps. Nathan Maguire's got a task on.
And that's one there is about a long half volley from Barry McCarthy. Just love to pierce the gap there as a batsman. Get yourself settled down. Nathan Maguire, of course, a belligerent hitter of a cricket ball. Great natural talent. Young man. A little bit airy-fairy there. And it has to be said, no real movement forward or back, and a swish from the crease from Nathan Maguire, and that's the sort of thing that has bowlers licking their lips.
Well, I've found so far this weekend, you can tell from very early on in each innings how innings are going to go. And I just think the Leinster Lightning have more of a chance than Wasp may indicate here. They're up and about, they're searching for early wickets, and Barry McCarthy's making things happen. Maguire, as you say, inside edge previous delivery, now beating all ends up. Maguire probably could have taken a single off that previous ball. There was almost a hesitation, mix up, almost a run out as we have a look at this replay, and that is a rip snorter from Barry McCarthy.
Well played, with no real conviction either by Nathan Maguire. Yes, it did nip back a bit, but just playing from the crease, no foot movement at all. And if this continues, Nathan Maguire's stay at the crease mightn't be that long.
It's a thick edge from Maguire. Down to Josh Little. Went straight to him, either side of him, and that may have ran away for 4, but it's an excellent start from Barry McCarthy. It ends the first over this run chase. The Northwest Warriors 2 for 1, and this game already looks a lot more alive than it did just 4 minutes ago.
Absolutely, that's what wickets does, Andrew. And again, I just wonder what William Porterfield might be saying to Nathan Maguire here. He's listening attentively, as he should do, but I'm sure it might be something along the lines of, get those feet moving, Nathan. Show me you mean business.
Yeah, we've Josh Little coming in to the attack from the pavilion end. 3 for 8 from just 3 overs yesterday against the Northern Knights, bowling with good pace. He's an uncomfortable bowler to face. Slightly slingy, can attack the ribs, especially of a right-hander, and gets it through at an extremely good pace. He can push a few across, he can get a few to just keep their line.
Again, he'll be disappointed with that. Long line there, fine leg in on the edge of the circle and off the hip for 4. That's disappointing. Just didn't seem to have that rhythm there. That looked a wee bit medium pace there from Josh Little. There was a little bit of inward movement, which is something that Josh Little, as a left arm seamer, should be looking to search for if he can. Had it much more so when he was that little bit younger. But you described it, Andrew, that slingy action that he has. But he has very good wrist action. That's the bit that generates the pace, attacks the crease.
Yeah, you can see just on your screen there, the right arm as you see it there, his left arm has that protective padding on the elbow. He was telling us in the player of the match presentation he still has a little bit of a twinge in that elbow, managing it very well at the moment. Well, I think if Nathan Maguire had connected with that, it might have ended up near enough his home club down in Rush. He's tried to hit that out of Breedy. It is the way he plays. Maguire is an aggressive player. This is very close to being his leg stump out of the ground.
Well, there's a touch of the Zorros about this from Nathan Maguire. Those of you listeners who don't understand that, it's called Zorro was a man of the flashing blade.
High in the air from Maguire.
I don't know whether David O'Halloran, he seemed to get the ground that he could have made the catch there, but perhaps the sun, he looked a bit distracted by that. Whether he could have got to that as a chance, I don't quite know, but it's dribbled over the boundary for 4. He seemed to get there, didn't he? And he stalled, delayed himself. Wasn't quite sure where his feet were. But Nathan Maguire will be breathing a little bit easier that he's away with the boundary.
Yeah, Maguire really going out with intent here. He'd have been unlucky to have departed to that previous shot. It would have been a 6 on the other side of the ground towards the cars, but as you say, Louis looked a little bit like David O'Halloran, just lost it at the last minute in the air.
Just trying to see where the sun is, and it's just overhead our vantage point here in the ground where it kind of long off. So perhaps that was the issue for him.
Oh, that's off the top edge from Nathan Maguire, but I do tell you, if you flash hard, and Nathan Maguire is certainly doing that. Another boundary for him, not exactly where he intended it, but he moves on to 9, showing great intent. He's a fabulous ball striker, Maguire. One of the great prospects of Irish cricket. This wasn't exactly where he wanted it to go, but 4 runs nonetheless. And the Warriors 14 for 1.
Well, it's the way he plays, Nathan Maguire. And some days it goes for you, some days it doesn't. But there's been a number of balls he's faced that could have seen his demise. And again, you see that. He's now moved to 9 from 10. And Barry McCarthy, who is the solitary wicket so far, very good first over from him.
Yeah, smart piece of work in the covers there from David O'Halloran. If the Lightning are to have much chance in this game, have to feel that chances are going to have to be taken, stops are going to have to be made, and this is good from O'Halloran. Not easy on those wicket ends.
Well, I think the other thing is this man on strike will be instrumental in terms of kind of shaping the timing and the duration of this chase. Need to get him out, Leinster Lightning. And it could be now. It could be now, Andrew Blair-White. And indeed it is. Josh Little has taken a very good catch, moving backwards, took it comfortably. And it's the end of William Porterfield, and you can sense the silence around the ground, Andrew.
I was just about to mention it. Not a peep here from the Northwest fans. There's heaps, as you can see there in the back of your screen. Loads of people watching. They would have been wishing Josh Little to have put that one down, but it's a smart catch at short fine leg. Had to make some room back over his head. And has taken a good catch. And Barry McCarthy making things happen. 2 for 2 from him. Most importantly, getting rid of William Porterfield, who was potentially going to be the linchpin of this Northwest Warriors run chase. They're 14 for 2. And you can just sense potentially there may be more in this game than we thought.
Well, you sense, and you sense it right. Shane Getgate now coming to the crease. Again, a man who's been in a fair degree of form with the bat. Of course, bowled his quota of 4 overs today, which is uncommon for him in this form. And of course, Graham Kennedy, the man of the or close to man of the match yesterday, not getting an over. Part of the tactic from the Northwest Warriors early on, having inserted the Leinster Lightning. Been really happy to dismiss them for 1-2-7, but the fun now begins. Andrew, 14 for 2, 2.2 overs. Barry McCarthy, the golden arm.
It'll be interesting to see how Maguire approaches this. Does he continue to keep going? And the answer is yes, and that's a magnificent shot from Nathan Maguire over towards the scoreboard. A few steps down the pitch. First shot he's really hit it out of the screws. A couple of bounces. Goes for a boundary to deep mid-wicket. Good to see that despite a few early wickets, losing an experienced partner, Nathan Maguire is still going to come out and attack.
Well, it seems to have been the Northwest Warriors' philosophy all season. There's no question of holding on. Let's see how we go here, lads. It's just all-out attack.
Chipped, but just past Simi Singh. It was in the air. Barry McCarthy was almost trying to will it into Simi Singh's hands at mid-on. But again, another 2 added to the board, and I think that's probably what the Northwest Warriors are thinking, is that if they manage to get a few boundaries away, they just keep running the score up, and it is such a small run chase that they can manage it. There's still plenty of batting to come. I think so. William McClintock will be in at number 5, then Andy McBride, Graham Kennedy, who we haven't seen with the bat too much this weekend. Excellent player. He'll come in at around 7 or 8, you'd have to think. So if they get ahead of the rate, they may just be able to manage the run chase from there.
Whatever happens here, Andrew, it's going to be exciting with Nathan Maguire at the crease. As you say, not a huge amount of foot movement, but already 3 boundaries in his 15 from 13. It's one of those ones you kind of sense any ball he could get out, and any ball could go the distance. It
certainly seems to be a moment of ball here for Nathan Maguire. And he's clubbed that out to deep mid-wicket. I don't think this is going all the way. It's going to be a third wicket for the Leinster Lightning and a third wicket for Barry McCarthy. They'd put George Dockrell, he'd put himself out at deep mid-wicket. You'd have to wonder whether it's the percentage play trying to take on that long boundary. But Maguire's frenetic innings of 15 comes to a close.
That's probably a wee bit of clueless cricket there from Nathan Maguire. As you say, George Dockrell cleverly posting himself out to deep mid-wicket, and Nathan Maguire delivers from a Leinster Lightning point of view, just hitting it straight down his throat. And Barry McCarthy now has 3. And this is exactly what we talked about. If this was to be certainly a game for the spectator, this type of start has certainly made it so. Look at that scorecard, Andrew.
Yeah, brilliant from Barry McCarthy. And I just hope, I know we've been a broken record in 50 over cricket, but I tell you, if they take Barry McCarthy off after bowling 2 overs and taking 3 wickets, I'll be fairly apoplectic. With 2 new men at the crease, yet to face the ball, either of them, Shane Getgate and William McClintock. However, they came in a very similar situation on Friday against the Northern Knights. Both of them batted superbly. But you can see there, Barry McCarthy 3 for 8 from 2 overs. He has to get a third, surely.
Well, if he doesn't get a 4th at this stage, I would the Leinster Lightning captain at 20 for 3. I'd be saying, you're my premier bowler, you've got 3, make it 5, and do it now. I think often in these situations you don't sit back till the 15th and 16th over to bring back someone who's a wicket taker at the top of the order with a new ball. And you're absolutely right, Andrew. Baffles me at times when you see someone must be brimming top of his game, 2 overs, 3 wickets, and even 2 wickets taken off. I just sometimes just simply don't understand it.
Just a hint of a misfield there from Tim Tector. He got a very bad bounce there, backward point. Allows Shane Getgate get off the mark for 1. As I've said with a few of the other players, it will be interesting to see how Getgate and McClintock continue to go. Will they keep going? Because that is in the way they've been told to play. But at the same time, you feel this situation, you feel there's a little bit of panic in the Warriors camp, and it needs to just be diffused.
Well, the only thing I'd say about William McClintock, it's much more orthodox hitting style. He knows his big scoring areas, and in those areas plays tremendously strong shots. Actually a very good technique, great eye, and of course he's a very, very strong man. Must stand at about 6'3", and he is a real presence at the crease. I think you've got a wee bit of your answer there. He's immediately said to himself, right, Josh Little, I'm coming towards you. And Josh Little immediately recognising it, just getting it, banging it into the pitch a bit more, getting it in the close enough to the nether regions there.
Yeah, well, I think we've seen from William McClintock throughout this season, I'd say he's the strongest hitter of a full delivery in the whole of Ireland. If you bowl it in his area, it will go the distance. He's a little bit more circumspect when it's more back of a length in at him. But as you said, Alan, a few balls ago, I think what gets underplayed, I think there's an awful lot of talk about William McClintock and how big he hits the ball, and he's obviously got tremendous power, but he's got a seriously good technique, especially on that front foot. Fairly well illustrated there, pushing that one out to extra cover. He's just a fine, fine batsman. It's great that he's back in the Warriors fold this year. Seems to really be enjoying his cricket. He's got a new lease of life.
Again, that's a good leave from William McClintock. No need for panic right now. And I agree with you totally, that last sentiment. Andrew, played that defensive shot with authority. It just tends to get the fielding team back on their heels a wee bit. He's a real presence, and you can kind of feel it. You can feel it around the ground. There's an air of anticipation. There's no need for panic now for William McClintock at all. Easily catch up. He could be fortunate. Oh, that was a chance to Andy Balbirnie, and it would have brought another in a long line of spectacular catches that we've seen in this series. None more so than Ross Adair yesterday. Absolute dinger of a catch.
Yeah, it was not too dissimilar to that from Balbirnie there, making that ground. Trying to catch it over his head at first slip. We've seen Jack Tector come onto the field to play. And I think Barry McCarthy has gone off the pitch, which means that he's not going to bowl his third over. I was wondering why Simi Singh's come on. Barry McCarthy is over to our left.
If you had 3 for 8, you'd come in on one leg. I see he's lying down now, doing a bit of rubbing of his shin. Anyway, he can explain that to us afterwards. He'd need to explain it to me, but it's brought Simi Singh into action. And William McClintock likes spin bowling.
He does. When he quite infamously hit Simi Singh for one of the biggest sixes I've ever seen at the All-Ireland T20 final last year for Dunnamana against YMCA. He hasn't timed that one too well, McClintock, but he's gotten away with it. Just going to be a single out to George Dockel. We see this more and more from Dockel, with him going out onto the boundary as one of the premier fielders. Very hard one to gauge as a captain. As a captain, you usually like trying to stay in the ring, but in T20 it's so important to have your best fielders out in the key positions, and Dockel Layton has taken matters into his own hands, putting himself out at deep mid-wicket.
Interesting too, Simi Singh going with 5 in a ring on the offside. All on the edge of the circle. And that goes to Jack Tector, as you say. He's on the field for Barry McCarthy, who prior to this over at 3 for 8 for any of our viewers just joining us, in what could be a very exciting run chase now. Mightn't have thought about it at the halfway stage, but the Warriors 3 down.
That was the leg spinner from Simi Singh, and McClintock has clubbed it through the covers. Singh doesn't seem to be too happy. It's gone through. I think it's Tim Tector there at extra cover and gone away for 4. And William McClintock, almost a bit of a cult hero up here, you could tell. The moment that's gone over the boundary, massive cheers.
Tim Tector should have done better there than he did at extra cover. Normally a very good fielder, but probably not the best piece of bowling from Simi Singh. Loopy leg spinner that William McClintock needed no second invitation. And at no second invitation, we've invited Peter Gillespie and Andrew Leonard to take you through the next couple of overs.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Big moment in the match. Barry McCarthy off the pitch. Just seeing him running over towards the physio, maybe to look to get some treatment. How important was it for the Leinster Lightning that he was to continue and bowl a third over there in the power play. He's taking all 3 wickets to fall at the moment, Peter.
Yeah, he's had an impressive weekend to date.
Hit over the offside. David O'Halloran into the attack, has been greeted by Shane Getgate and dispatched over the offside for 4. Just struggled a little bit in the T20 format. So impressive in the 50 over, the IP20 David O'Halloran, but not the way you want to start a wide floaty half volley. That's really far too easy for Shane Getgate.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the field set as it is, that one slashed over the 2 men in at point and short third man, a boundary for the Warriors.
Steered into the offside. Yeah, the Lightning had to go to the off spin of Simi Singh. That opening burst from McCarthy, one of the spells of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he struggled somewhat last weekend.
He was expensive last weekend,
He was
Peter,
expensive,
wasn't he?
yes, he was. But, I mean, this weekend he's 2 for 25 off 3, 1 for 14 off 3, and then today really back finding the form we know he has.
Good shot from William McClintock, dances down the track. They're going to target young David O'Halloran, and it's going to run away for 4 despite the despairing dive of Gavin Hoey. McClintock got that life from Balbirnie. How important is that going to be?
Yeah, he's not the kind of guy that you want to give a life to. He's such a power hitter. He's such a powerful guy. He accesses all areas of the field. Loves that slash over cover. We've seen a monstrous 60 hit here in the first day of the festival.
Thuds into the pad, good comeback from O'Halloran, but you can see the Warriors' approach. It is all-out attack, but they do target bowlers as well, and they're quite clearly targeting young David O'Halloran here.
Yeah, I had wondered what approach they were going to take. Lenny, just such a small total. It's one of those in-between totals. Are they going to stick with the formula that's been so successful? Just go for it, guns blazing. You're taking a chance against 2 quality bowlers like Josh Little and Barry McCarthy. That's proved to be the case. They didn't be circumspect.
Yeah, Gate will be disappointed with that one. It was the low full toss. Can so often prove a difficult delivery to get away. He can only hit it to Kevin O'Brien, who's in the circle at mid-wicket. The Lightning will be just looking to get out of this power play. Wasp says 77%. I think there's a lot of cricket still to be played here. This one feels like a bit of a coin toss to me right now, Peter Gillespie.
Yeah, those early wickets have really put the game in the balance.
Good comeback from David O'Halloran. Hit for a boundary off the first and third balls of the over. He gets out of it with just 10 runs coming off his bowling and the leg by as well. 11 from the over overall. That's the end of the power play. The score 39 for 3.
Yeah, as we can see there, the run rate is 6.5. The required rate just slightly below that. It's 6.36. Just shows, as you say, Warriors are just thereabouts, but those 3 early wickets have really kept things honest for them.
I just want to bring this graphic up for a moment, Peter. The match summary. This gives a really good indication of just how difficult it has been to bat on this wicket today. George Dockrell, the only one, looked like he batted on a different wicket, the only one to score up more than a run a ball. The Warriors are continuing to take their aggressive approach, but it's cost them 3 early wickets. A big moment in the match here. The Lightning are going to take a big show of faith in their young leg spinner. Gavin Hoey made his debut yesterday. Was dispatched down the ground a couple of times by Neil Rock, but they're going to bring him on from the Mason Road end. Massive leg side boundary to work with. Can the youngster find a debut wicket, a maiden wicket in IP20 cricket?
I think this is a smart play by the Leinster Lightning. And we've seen with George's innings. I know you say he was the only one to get above a run a ball, but that was really tailored towards the last back end of the innings. We said it when I left commentary at 12 overs. We said that George really needed to bat as many of those last 8 overs as could, and he did.
I think this is a good move for 2 reasons, and a real misfield from David O'Halloran. That was a regulation piece of fielding at backward point, and what you have to do at backward point off a leg spinner who turns the ball like Hoey does, you have to expect the spin away to your left. He didn't, and he's fumbled a simple one there, Peter.
Yeah, I've been in that position many a time, and it brought about a change. Josh Little moves to that position now. Much more firmly struck there.
I think this is a good move for 2 reasons as well. McClintock not hugely exposed to leg spin, doesn't like the ball necessarily going away from him. And will we see the wrong one from Gavin Hoey? I think we might see it this very delivery to McClintock. He's landed 3 leg breaks in a row. Watch for the one out of the back of the hand. Now keeps going with the leg spinners. A good flat leg break. McClintock takes a very high risk shot. Remember, there's long on, deep mid wicket and deep square leg in place. Good bowling, good brave stuff from Gavin Hoey.
Yeah, it is from the young man.
That one's come off an under edge. Was that a chance for Lorcan Tucker?
Well, yeah, technically yes, Lenny, but those ones are just near enough impossible to judge.
A bit of a drag down, a flat leg break from Hoey, and I don't think you can really describe it as a chance, even though it's come off the bat. There is the googly, pumped into the deep out to deep mid wicket. George Dockrell putting himself into one of the key positions. Really good start from Hoey. 5 runs coming from the over. No googlies, I think, maybe just the last delivery, but good stuff from the young leg spinner from Pembroke.
Yeah, the googly is as you know yourself, Lenny, it's a great delivery, but sometimes you can overplay your hand. You got to keep it as a surprise element. You got to keep the batsman guessing. You know you've got it, and you keep them saying, when's it coming. The longer it takes to bowl, the almost more you're expecting it to come. But McClintock there taking a bit of a gamble, much like Nathan Maguire, how he perished, looking to take on the biggest boundary in the ground, hitting against the spin. This is where they've got to just take the chance and have a bit of smarts. Just say the run rate's not out of control. It's not going to get out of control. We don't need to worry about a bonus point win here. Let's just concentrate on getting the 4 points against possibly their closest contenders.
Very differing approaches from the two sides, though. You saw the Warriors favoured their seamers hugely, bowling 16 overs a seam and just the 4 overs a spin. Both the left arm spinners, Ross Allen and Graham Kennedy, weren't given the ball at any point. But immediately the Lightning, I think with that early introduction of Gavin Hoey, they are saying we're not going to win this game by restricting the runs. We're going to have to try and take wickets.
Yeah, I think part of their game plan of the Warriors was probably down in the start they got with the ball. I did speak to head coach Gary Wilson, and the change from the pavilion end, Roy Anders comes into the attack.
Yeah, the kind of the medium pacers, those of less extreme pace, I know Young, Little and McCarthy have all profited as well, but the medium pace has been very effective on this wicket today.
Well, as I had a quick conversation with Gary Wilson, and he did feel that there was slightly more in the pitch for the seamers today. But, and that said, the start that the seamers got them off really meant that they were going to persevere with that.
McClintock comes down the track, can't make any contact through to the keeper, Tucker. Yeah, big spell this for Rory Anders. Can he find a way to break this partnership? Again, kudos to the Northwest Warriors not changing their approach. They lost those 3 early wickets. You half wondered, was Andy McBride going to come in at number 5? They said no, we're going to keep going with our power hitters. William McClintock going to back our power hitter in the middle order, the Donnamana man. He's going to get it just between that gap between third man and backward point. Going to run away for a boundary 4. Felt like it came off the toe end of the bat, but William McClintock and the home crowd don't mind that.
Yeah, a lot of width and offer here from Rory Anders, as we see in the replay. He's gone really wide, almost out on that wide line. And McClintock quite happy to throw the bat out, as you say. A bit of a toe end, but a boundary nonetheless.
Is he doing that, Peter, because he's just worried about that shorter leg side boundary? Doesn't want to get close into the pads, the hitting arc of McClintock? Again, hanging it away outside the off stump.
Yeah, I can imagine. So he's obviously got to build a bit of pressure. They need wickets. So do you target the stumps? Do you target that hitting arc of McClintock, hoping you could maybe slip one through, or do you try and build pressure? Do you try and bowl dots and then really force him into almost breaking point? But he certainly missed his line.
Clubbed down the ground. Potentially, I think, a bit of a slower ball from Rory Anders. But yeah, you can again see the different approaches between the two sides. The Warriors are finding a way to find the boundary in these overs after the power play, whereas the Lightning didn't hit a boundary between the 8th and the 13th over, I believe.
I would say, I mean, both. Both really good bowling lineups, Lenny. But when you stack them up side by side, I think the Warriors probably just have the edge, slightly.
In the bowling lineup,
slightly with the seamers, you know.
So you prefer Young, Hume,
I think
Macbeth to McCarthy,
I think
Little Singh?
Well, McCarthy and Little, I think, are absolutely
going back on your word here, Peter.
Outstanding bowlers. No, they're two international bowlers. I think as a rounded attack, as an all-round
attack.
I think,
okay.
You know, you've got Hume who bowls, who slides the ball away. You know, you've got Young who bowls very heavy length. You've got Macbeth, very mixy-matchy. As we see that spell from Barry McCarthy, 3 for 8 off 2, phenomenal start.
Gavin Hoey, the leg spinner, to continue. Looks to me to be bowling a much flatter pace today. I think he was very nervous yesterday. His second spell from the pavilion end of the ground, he did get a little bit slow, didn't he, to Neil Rock in particular through the air. Googly and so nearly bowls William McClintock, who loves that slog sweep. I'm not sure he's picked this, Peter Gillespie. How is this missed off stump?
I think we'll have to continue guessing. He's thrown the kitchen sink at it, Lenny. And as we see here, oh my word! As we say up here, it was a lick of paint.
This is really good bowling from Gavin Hoey. Certainly something.
It's good bowling, but I don't think it's smart batting. I can't understand why he's continuing to target such a big boundary. I know he has the power, but it's not an out of control run rate. You don't need to go chasing boundaries. I know the Warriors are playing this front foot attacking cricket, but he is bowling fast. He is bowling flat.
4 dots, Peter. Something's got to give here.
Your call, Lenny.
They're wrong it again. This time I think McClintock's picked it, but probably picked it more off the pitch than out of the hand. It was shorter of length and he's adjusted his shot.
Yeah, but again, as you say now, we're last ball of the over.
Finishes with a floated leg break. The youngster Gavin Hoey's just bowled a maiden. You don't see those too often in T20 cricket, and he's immediately sprinted out like a man possessed out to his fielding position. Gives you as much joy sometimes a maiden as a wicket. Really good stuff from the young leg spinner.
Yeah, you said it there, Lenny. He's definitely bowling flatter. You know, he's obviously learnt a lot from yesterday, bowling to Neil Rock at a short end, and he was quite happy to take him on. Got him away for a few, and I'm sure when he sat back with the coaches and more experienced players, he's had a bit of time to reflect, and you can see there, very good over.
Won't have a better coach than his father either. Conor Hoey, who you'll have played cricket with, I'm sure, at some point.
Just before my time,
Just
but a
before your
fantastic
time.
achievement I've seen yesterday on social media, getting 300 wickets for Trinity and getting a special presentation. That was a nice moment.
Yeah, his father, Conor Hoey, who probably Ireland's finest leg spinner, arguably of all time, counts amongst his victims a certain Brian Charles Lara against the West Indies up in 1991. He told me he bowled a beautiful delivery, it drifted away, it turned in and it jagged back in and clean bowled him. I watched the highlights on YouTube. It looked more like a long hop that was chipped up to extra cover, but anyway.
Yeah, well, everybody's got him. Kyle McCallum's even got him. So.
He was a bit of an Irish bunny, wasn't he, Brian Charles, the Prince of Trinidad? Nicely dug out by McClintock again, a good demonstration of the Perry show. But yeah, the reason I said he won't learn better than anyone from his father, I've no doubt Conor Hoey was speaking to him last night. I know he was watching the live stream. He probably would have told his son, just get a little bit flatter, don't give them any elevation to work with, and it was a good demonstration of that in the over from Hoey. The maidens brought the game back into the balance as bringing the run rate required into play.
A rare maiden in T20 cricket, as you say. The run rate's still very manageable, so that, you know, the Warriors just need to keep their smarts here.
Big appeal. Feels like to me that Getgate has hit the ground, and my initial instinct is that's a very good decision. Rory Anders was convinced. I think Lorcan Tucker half thought it, but the sound to me was not a wooden one, it was one of the bat hitting the ground.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Lenny. Kind of a half-hearted appeal from Lorcan Tucker, but they know how vital the wicket of Getgate is. They know if they see the back of him, you know, they're really into this Warriors batting lineup.
That's a slower ball. The leg cutter well picked up by Shane Getgate. Going to be work to do. I think it's for Tim Tector out in the deep. He's going to pick up. He's got a powerful arm. But McClintock will be able to get back for 3. I think even if the direct hit from the deep had come in. Big claps, big cheers from the sideline. The crowd starting to get into this, Peter.
Yeah, it's almost a you can feel a slight tension in the crowd. It's not the Warriors display that we've been used to. They all attack boundary hitting, you know. The Lightning have bowled very well. They've kept them in check. They haven't let them get out of control. They've taken those wickets when they've needed to. They've kept the run rate up-ish as much as they can. It's up at 7s now.
Hit down the ground towards Josh Little, who just for half a step, I think, thought that he was in the game for a catch there. Took a couple of steps in and then realised it wasn't going to carry. Cut off the boundary.
Yeah, real flat bat there from William McClintock. Making up for that last over, the Warriors have 6 off this with 1 ball to come. They just have to keep batting. They just have to keep batting with this. You know, it's in there. It's well in control. Don't do anything stupid.
Hit into the leg side. There is protection out there. It's the shorter side of the ground. George Dockrell probably the finest fielder in this Lightning side. He keeps getting himself into the important positions. The halfway stage of the chase. It's 57 for 3. Wherever you're watching from around the world, do not go anywhere. I think we've got a low-scoring thriller on our hands. I'll come back and join you for the final 5 overs. I'll pass over now to Andrew Blair-White.
Yeah, the Warriors, as I said, 71 of 60 balls. 7 wickets in hand. I think, Andrew, is the key statistic here. The run rates well within their range if they just keep batting sensibly, which is not something that we've associated with the Warriors. They've been more on the attacking front. Cut out to backward point, deeper back point there by Shane Getgate. 2 runs, so this isn't going to be the second maiden in a row for Gavin Hoey, but it was impressive in that last over, Andrew.
Yeah, he is, and you have to remember he's just completely at the infancy of his leg spinning career. Already looks to have a nice action, gets through it very nicely indeed. And he's potentially just turning this game on its head a little bit. As you say, the required run rate is in hand here for the Northwest Warriors. But another wicket or 2 in the next few overs. And we add 2 wickets to that score and they're suddenly in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, wickets are the premium for Leinster at this stage. It's, as Lenny says previously, they're not going to restrict them run-wise. They're not going to take them to 20 overs and keep them in to under 130. They need wickets. And none better to try and get that than a leg spinner who does have a wrong on.
Shane Getgate smeared that in the air. Is it long enough? No, it's not. It's a good catch from David O'Halloran at long off, and it's the first wicket for Gavin Hoey in Leinster Lightning colours, and it's been completely deserved. Shane Getgate felt he needed an outshot, needed to get one all the way, but it's a good catch from O'Halloran.
Yeah, you said it there, Andrew. Very well deserved first wicket in T20 cricket. And I think as soon as Shane Getgate hit that, you seen him running up the pitch and his head just dropped. He knew he didn't get that anywhere near where he wanted to, and I questioned, did he need to even try that? He obviously felt he did, but he's paid the price. He departs for 20 off 20.
You feel just in this Northwest Warriors run chase, it's been a little bit frenetic at times in comparison to usually the way they have played. There hasn't been really a clear philosophy in terms of are they really trying to go after it, or are they just trying to knock it around and manage the run rate. There's been an awful lot of dot balls in there as well, and this required run rate is just beginning to creep up, and when that creeps up you get more wicket taking opportunities. They have crossed McClintock on strike, Andy McBride the non-striker.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 wickets to fall so far. Barry McCarthy's LBW have fell to shots, big shots, looking to access the boundary, looking for those power hits, and you have to wonder the wisdom of that.
Another excellent over. Comes to a close from Gavin Hoey though. A wicket from it and just the 4 runs. He's turning this game on his head. The young leg spinner from Pembroke. The Northwest Warriors 61 for 4 after 11.
Yeah, we've always felt that this game's just still been in the balance. We've said it from early on. It doesn't feel like the heavyweight clash that we thought. We felt that in the start of the first innings it was more of a sparring match. No teams really got to grips, got in control of the game. Warriors for a while. Leinster came back strong, got those vital runs at the end of the innings, and it's just enough to keep the Warriors honest at the moment in the chase. They've pegged them back with wickets, still well within the Warriors' grasp, as the skipper George Dockrell decides to give himself a ball from the pavilion end.
Yeah, Rory Andrews coming out of the attack after 2 good overs from the pavilion end. Obviously spinning the ball into McBride, but a much longer boundary, and then spinning the ball away from McClintock with a much shorter boundary. So it's a risk-reward option. It wouldn't surprise me to see William McClintock try and have a go at that shorter boundary, even against a spin.
No, absolutely wouldn't surprise me. He tried to access the bigger boundary off Gavin Hoey, who is arguably the bigger turner of the ball of the 2 spinners that are going to take the ball away from William McClintock. So I have no doubt he's eyeing up that pavilion, that clubhouse area of the ground. And Warriors and the Lightning will be very aware of that. And I think George is just thinking, if I can just sneak one through. He bowls a bit flatter, he doesn't turn it as much. And as you say, he's taking a gamble that it's almost the ultimate risk and reward. He knows that this is the last big power hitter in the Warriors lineup. If he can sneak another one here, get William McClintock back, he'll feel that they're really in this game.
It was short, and McClintock has lifted it away onto the mound to huge cheers from the pavilion. It was too short from Dockrell, especially with that shorter boundary. And with a man of William McClintock's power, he's always going to clear the ropes from there.
Yeah, poor delivery from George Dockrell. It was a real drag down, and William McClintock wasn't going to turn down an invitation like that.
And he's gone again. But it's dropped short of Josh Diddle at long off. And they're going back for 2. We saw Josh Diddle almost affect a run out from that situation in his fixture last weekend. It hung in the air. It was just always dropping short of Dockrell, or of Josh Little, should I say. And McClintock survives a half chance.
Yeah, well, it's all happening, Andrew.
That tends to be the case with William McClintock at the crease. Things tend to happen.
It's all or nothing, isn't it? He's a very exciting player to watch, no doubt.
It's another big shot into the leg side. It's another big catch, and a first crowd catch this weekend. And the man by his red car, he's taken that beautifully out at the deep square boundary. A lovely shot from William McClintock, slog sweep, and this is a potentially game turning over.
Yeah, sensible bit of batting there. He's had a fantastic over. No point in taking any more risks as he closes that out with the Warriors on 76 for 4 off 12 overs. Yeah, he tried that shot a few times to Gavin Hoey. Didn't quite pick it. Wrong and flatter. And it was much more of a risk hitting to the bigger end of the boundary. And we thought when George Dockrell came in that was going to be his play. He got a gift first up with the big drag down, and then he just opened up the front leg and took him over cow, as we call it, in the game.
As you
and
can see,
it was a big over.
Yeah, as you can see on your camera there, just panning around all throughout the entire crowd here, from the pavilion all the way around. You can see those parked cars, the deck chairs, people sitting on the mound.
Well, I've just been given a great stat by my fellow commentator Andrew Leonard, who informs me that that was the first 6 of the match in the 32nd over.
Oh, a massive appeal.
Huge
It was
moment.
superb fielding from Josh Little, but Rowley Black hasn't given it out. Will be interesting to see on the replay here.
It's a great bit of fielding with Josh Little, and this is the second moment of the match where there's been a run out, and it's all happened very quick. The previous innings there was one of George Dockrell, and this time Rowley Black turns down an appeal from the Leinster Lightning. That was a big moment there, Andrew.
Yeah, a massive moment with McBride just on one. Very hard to know, obviously, when you're out in the heat of the moment, but it looked certainly from our replay, and we do obviously have the benefit of a replay, that he may have been slightly short.
Yeah, I was on commentary for the last one as well, and I said to Lenny that, you know, with the third umpire these days, you find that more often than not those chances are out.
I can understand why the benefit of the doubt is given to the batter, though, at times when it's happening so quickly and it's such a small matter of inches. It's obviously, we're in a great luxury here that we can watch replays, we can slow down replays, all from the benefit of hindsight. But that looked a super piece of fielding from Josh Little, unrewarded.
Yeah, he's got a rocket of an arm, and he used it to great effect there. I think the skipper, Andy McBride, here is the right man to be in this situation now. He'll just calm William McClintock. His Donovan teammate. He'll just be talking to him, saying, "We're here. Just be patient. Stay with me."
As you say that, he cracks out a reverse sweep.
Makes a mockery of me. That's what he does.
To be fair, it is probably a shot that could be played. Just a one-man backward a square on the offside. Gavin, he's bowled so well. Just 2 more deliveries left in his spell.
And it's prompted a change in the field immediately as Simi Singh comes across from short mid-wicket to backward point to give it reinforcement to that area. And Andy McBride duly obliges in the gap and just nudges it out to long on for a single. Brings McClintock back on strike.
Yeah, quite clever batting from McBride, even though he got no contact to that reverse sweep. As you say, it prompted a change in the field, leaving that leg side.
And yet another impressive over from the young leg spinner.
Oh, and he's got a wicket. He's got the big wicket of William McClintock, who is not happy whatsoever with that decision from Rowley Black. It's a massive wicket. It's potentially a game-changing wicket from Gavin Hoey. He completes his spell with a second.
Might have pitched outside leg there.
Yeah, and it looked on the replay for all money to be absolutely stone dead. He's flighted it beautifully, very full. McClintock with a strange shot just seemed to try and paddle it round the corner from a standing position. It's hit him in front of leg, and you can't think that it was going to go anywhere else but straight on and hit the stumps.
Yeah, it was so full. The only question was whether it pitched outside the line of leg stump. I think it was probably one of those umpires' calls, but McClintock has departed for 35, and Gavin Hoey, what a spell from the young man. I think he was entitled. He was a little bit nervous yesterday. He grew into his spell, and he's bowled a super spell. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 12. He's certainly thrusting himself into the player of the match picture, especially if the Lightning can get over the line from here. The Northwest Warriors in all sorts of trouble here. 79 for 5 from 13.
Yeah, well done, young man. That was a fantastic spell of leg spin bowling. A great 4 overs to watch it. Had a bit of everything. Had a few missed chances. And maiden, a big wicket. And most importantly, it only went for 3 runs per over in a spell. And it's really given the Leinster Lightning team a sniff here.
Well, it brings Graham Kennedy to the crease. He wasn't on strike there. That was McBride tucking that one off the pads for a single. Graham Kennedy's been so impressive in the 50 over format with the bat this year. Looks to have added a fair few new shots to his game over the last 12 to 18 months. Looking a lot more versatile, but this calls for a massive effort. They now need 7 and over just the 5 wickets in hand. These are 2 last majorly recognised batters.
Yeah, he has come on as a batsman. And again, like Gavin Hoey, it's a result of more exposure, more responsibility that the Warriors coach Gary Wilson and the skipper Andy McBride are willing to place on the young shoulders. Still learning this game, still relatively young, but getting exposed, getting chances and improving, the main thing.
Clipped into the leg side from McBride. The initial call was 2, but I suspect, given Josh Little's direct hit run out, or attempted run out in the previous over, a fairly wise call.
Yeah, they're not going to take on the... He's not going to take on the arm of Josh Little in a hurry. Not after that exhibition we've seen a few overs back. I don't think we're going to see the boundary count the way it is previously for the likes of William McClintock, Shane Getgate. I think this is going to be the game now for the end. Andrew, they're going to try and run this down as best they can. 4 singles in this over so far tells that story.
It'll be very interesting to see where does George Dockrell turn to. Does he bring his marksman, his wicket taker Barry McCarthy, who's back on the field to play? Does he bring him back for an over from the Mason Road end? Does he turn to Josh Little, looking to try and get that big breakthrough?
Yeah, you'll have to imagine at some stage he's going to turn to his main frontline bowlers. It's just, as you say, at what stage does he go? Does he risk one now, chasing another wicket? Does he let this play out for a few overs and then bring them back and back them to really bring their side over the line? A lot of questions, a lot of things still up in the air. You would have thought with 130 that this could have been a relatively comfortable chase for the Warriors, but they decided on the attack option, perished doing so, and they're 5 down for 85 with 14 overs gone. And there you can see at the bottom of your screen 43 required of 36 balls. So Warriors still have work to do, as we do indeed see the change that we talked about. Barry McCarthy comes back from the end, the Mason Road end, that he's been so successful so far with his 3 wickets. An impressive spell. Was off for a while getting a bit of treatment, so I wonder is he raring to go again?
You know, the Lightning will be hoping so, that he can break through this partnership. An under edge from Graham Kennedy. Josh Little decides not to try and throw the stumps down this time round. McBride and Kennedy doing well in rotating the strike. They know just how important this partnership is for the game.
Yeah, I think that was always going to be the obvious option. Try and pick up a boundary here and there. They're not going to look to deal primarily in boundaries. It's going to be nudge and nurdle. Try and pick up the odd boundary and almost take the safe option home. They're not going to be going for any bonus point wins today, for sure.
Yeah, clever from McBride. And it was wider. Rory Anders at backward point. It allows them to get back for 2, and they just need 7 and over, so singles and the odd 2, maybe the odd boundary here and there. It's all the Warriors need. As you say, probably the 2 most sensible batters in this side, McBride and Kennedy, in the side for these situations to get them over the line.
Yeah, they're the only unbeaten side this weekend, and they want to make sure they preserve that. Won twice last weekend, 1 defeat to the Munster Reds. If they can come out of this weekend with 3 wins, it puts them firmly in the driving seat.
Yeah, this is a massive game, remember, for the context of this IP20 series. If the Warriors win, they go well clear at the top. If the Lightning win, it's all to play for going to the Northern Cricket Union in September. So this 5.5 overs is absolutely imperative for the overall destination of that IP20 series come the end of this summer.
Yeah, and another big 2020 series coming up here in August, when the Northwest and Ireland will welcome Zimbabwe to Breda Cricket Club for 3 T20s. I'll give you those dates in a second as Anna McBride just pushes that one out to mid-off. Scampers through for a quick single. Yeah, Zimbabwe come here for 3 T20s on the 15th, 17th and 20th of August, supported by Visit Derry. That's going to be an exciting series. A lot of cricket now. Interprovincial cricket takes a break. International cricket comes to the fore. South Africa and Zimbabwe both coming over to Ireland. And a lot for these players to aim for.
It's a lovely shot from Graham Kennedy, cut out to deep cover, and not for the first time this year we've seen Kennedy, when he plays that cut, he has his back leg up in the air. Plenty of style to his left hand batting. As I said, he scored a lot of runs in the 50 over format. Just one more delivery left in this McCarthy's third over. It's going to yield another single from Andy McBride.
Yeah, good shot there from Andy. He's really come in and stabilised things after that flurry of wickets. The two left-handers doing a great job here. We'll see their play. I think this is going to be it for the last 5 overs. We're going to be a double change now. Myself and Andrew will give way to Andy Leonard, and Alan Lewis to see you home.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. It's going to be a grandstand finish. This top of the table clash in the second IP20 festival here at Breedy. There's a big crowd in, the biggest crowd of the week. 36 to win off 30. Alan, which way is this game going?
Well, it's in the balance, I think. Realistically, the man that could steer the Northwest Warriors home is on strike now, Captain Andrew McBride. Very good in these situations. Nothing really powerful required in terms of run rate.
Which way is the game going?
It's the Warriors to lose.
They would extend their lead at the top of the table. They would take what would surely be an unassailable lead at the top of the IP20 table. But nobody's found it easy to score at more than a run a ball at the moment, so if particularly Simi Singh can bowl 1 or 2 tight overs here and get that required run rate into play, all 3 results possible. Could be a chance of a super over, Alan.
Absolutely. The only interesting thing was the decision of the captain to bowl himself this end when, you know, in the context of the match there was no need to. Josh Little overs left, David O'Halloran overs left, and that short boundary was just far too inviting for William McClintock, and it was the big over they needed at that time.
Big appeal, and that's given. Lorcan Tucker's held on behind. Graham Kennedy doesn't feel it's out, but all that matters is that Alan Neal has got the finger up. Maybe just a feather of an outside edge. It didn't sound very wooden to me initially, Alan.
Certainly didn't sound that wooden to me either, but he's on his way. Alan Neal had the finger up. Simi Singh was absolutely convinced, as was Lorcan Tucker, and Graham Kennedy is gone, and the game is really in the balance now. If we looked at comparisons, this was the type of position the Leinster Lightning were in also. And if we kind of think too of probably on the balance, we had a run out before for William McClintock. We also had one for George Dockler, if you remember, Nathan Maguire. So everything is happening here in this game.
Yeah, both of those run-outs incredibly close, but has that ball come off the pad and through to the gloves of Lorcan Tucker?
Well, the one thing we don't have, of course, we have no luxury here of Snicko. We have no let's go upstairs. And perhaps 2 decisions going Leinster Lightning's way in this game.
Of course, one possibly going against them, that little run-out of McClintock. The game turns again. It's going to be another left-hander to the crease. Simi Singh will be happy with that. Graham Hume in at number 8. Remember, it's a slightly longer Warriors tail than usual with Ryan Macbeth the seamer into the side. So it's going to have to be these 2 left-handers who are going to have to do the majority of the work for the Warriors. Every dot here, every run is going to be critical. It's going to go right down to the wire, this match, you'd have to feel now, Alan.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And it's going to need a captain's cameo, I reckon, from Andrew McBride to take the home side home in front of their adoring fans here in Breedy.
Yeah, and 2 overs from Josh Little, remember, from probably the pavilion end of the ground, you'd have to think, with the 2 left-handers at the wicket remain. Slower through the air, good bowling from Simi Singh, brave bowling. Brian needs to work this into the leg side, probably try and look for 2s, won't be able to find the boundary off Singh here. Just that little pause, and O'Brien does get it into the leg side, but not enough time for 2. That's going to go down to O'Brien just for a single.
Yep. They've got to keep those ticking over. The big thing the Warriors have to protect themselves against is dots. If they can keep the scoreboard ticking, as you well know, Andrew, you only need 1 big over.
And that's going to be another wicket. And it's another wicket to Simi Singh, 2 in the over. A little bit like we saw some of the Leinster Lightning batsmen just chip it back to Andy McBride. The exact same method of dismissal for Simi Singh. Back of a length. Hume probably looking to work it into the leg side, getting a bit of a leading edge and a simple catch. Back to Simi Singh.
Well, if you think about it logically, Andrew, there isn't a solitary fielder saving 1 on the leg side. That just had to be worked calmly and quietly into the leg side. And a poor shot from Graham Hume there. And the easiest of chances for Simi Singh. 95 for 7. Graham Hume gone for 1.
And it's going to be the hero from Sydney Parade down in Dublin from this exact fixture. This day last week, the Northwest Warriors won by 1 wicket. Craig Young pulling off an extraordinary chase of the Leinster Lightning's total of 182, which remains the highest total of the year so far. Young was the hero, the player of the match. 17 not out. Getting back for that hurried 2 off the bowling of Barry McCarthy as the fumble in the outfield from George Dockrell of all people allowed the Warriors to get home, which has helped them to their position at top of the table. They're going to have to do it again. We're going to see 2 overs now of Josh Little, not from the pavilion end as we thought we might. He's going to come in from the Mason Road end. Both McCarthy and Simi Singh have 1 over remaining as well.
Yeah, in terms of rolling the dice, not a bad idea this, getting Josh Little back into the attack. He's been in great form with the ball. No wickets today, but plenty of them yesterday, and nothing will inspire a bowler more than this situation.
Bowling with real pace as well, Alan. Real pace, foreign aggression, a little bit of movement too this morning, which we haven't seen a huge amount of. Particularly enjoy bowling to Young. I suspect he'll probably come around the wicket to him, the right-hander, but for the moment he's over the wicket to the left-handed McBride. 33 to win off 24. And immediately beats him outside the off stump. Let's take a look at the Manhattan, Alan, because this is going to do is give a really good demonstration of just how difficult it is to get those big overs in the match. Just the 1 big over so far. That's the over of the bowling of Dockrell, and then George Dockrell with the bat in the final over the innings for the Leinster Lightning. But it's very difficult to get 12, 15 and over at the moment on this wicket.
Well, more particularly when you're chasing.
Hit into the sky. It's not going to travel far enough to go towards David O'Halloran, and it just ends up landing between David O'Halloran and George Dockrell in the deep. A complete splice from Andy McBride, but he survives.
And again, if you consider you're looking at it, Craig Young coming in, the likelihood is that Simi Singh will bowl his solitary last over from this end, which means that Josh Little can finish from the pavilion end. In terms of maximising the opportunity, whether they'll go with Josh Little to bowl the penultimate over and perhaps Barry McCarthy from this end will be interesting to see.
Little not going to come around the wicket, perhaps surprisingly to the right-handed. Young stays over, Young gets it away, gets off the mark through the offside. Shades of deja vu, a very different game to the one in Pembroke, which was a high-scoring thriller. But is this going right down to the wire again? Will it be McCarthy against Young again in that final over?
you just wonder, do you get that sense of slow death about this, Andrew, from the Warriors' point of view? You're just wondering where they may get the big over from, and it may just be Craig Young attacking that short boundary if Simi Singh is to bowl the next over from this end.
Hit into the sky, could have been an opportunity towards Kevin O'Brien down at third man. He clings on, a brilliant catch. It dipped on him late. The call was mine from O'Brien. He's known as having a big pair of hands. Is that the match-winning catch? Is that game set a match to the Leinster Lightning?
I sense it is, and it was a very good catch because that went very high and it dipped, as you say, at the end. But Kevin O'Brien duly did the honours, and you have to say it's going to be very difficult for the Warriors to win the game from here. And you can sense the silence around the ground, Andrew, can't you?
Yeah, passionate, patriotic home crowd here for the Northwest Warriors, who've come in big numbers to see their side try and beat the reigning champions for the second time within a week and extend their lead at the top of the table. If they're going to do that, they're going to need a sparkling cameo from either Ross Allen, Craig Young, or the number 11, Macbeth, because right now, an outstanding bowling performance, a team bowling performance from the Leinster Lightning. McCarthy, Little, Hoey in particular, is leading the Lightning towards what could be a season-defining victory.
Well, certainly, and it's going to open up the competition because it's going to take the Leinster Lightning to second, and with a further 3 games to go, it's all up for grabs.
Craig Young's going to be on strike, the batsman crossing a dismissal of McBride. Good pace again, good aggression from Little. Just how improved a cricketer is Josh Little, Alan?
Oh, he's so improved. He's got himself into great shape. I thought yesterday he bowled the quickest spell of the weekend. And he's one of the first names on the team sheet in the Irish setup, and he was talking yesterday about relishing the opportunity to play, of course, that ODI series against South Africa.
And speaking as well about happiness and joy returning to the camp, wanting to play for the love of the game. Brilliant to hear the young man. Is he going to turn into a leader for the Irish side in the future? 30 to win off 19. Alan's first delivery. Gets it away through the offside. Gavin Hoey makes good ground to his left. Direct hit could be close. Super work from the youngster. Would that have been out, Alan?
Without a shadow of a doubt. Ross Allen had given up for all money there. Brilliant bit of work from Gavin Hoey. He's having the day of his life. And if the Leinster Lightning are to go on to win this game, you've got to be saying to yourself, Gavin Hoey has changed the fortunes of this match.
You sure that would have been out, Alan?
I'm not sure, but I thought it would have been.
We don't think gone for all money. Okay. Would have been very close indeed, but great work from Gavin Hoey at backward point. It is going to be Simi Singh to bowl this, the 18th over of the match. Is this, as much as anything, because it's the left-handed Allen on strike?
Well, I think from a Warriors' point of view, Craig Young has got to be saying to himself, this is my time. And if Ross Allen can get himself off strike, I think if I were Simi Singh, I'd possibly be trying to get maybe someone else in on the leg side, but he's on the offside, should I say. I'm sorry.
Ross Allen's got it into the leg side. There might be enough time to get back for 2. There won't. And I think Young is going to be happy with that, because like you say, this is the key over here. Singh has got a very short boundary to defend on the leg side. Protection all over it with 3 men in the deep. Long on. Deep mid-wicket and deep backward square leg. But Craig Young does hit a big ball. He's going to have to try and find a couple of bombs down towards the fans in the pavilion there.
Well, if I were batting now, this is what you'd be targeting.
Well, that's really clever bowling. Look at where that's passed by the bat. Right next to that blue line on the left of your screen, the wide guide line. You're not going to see anything speared into the pads here, trying to protect the shorter boundary.
Absolutely. But again, just...
And he gets it into the block hole this time. Clever bowling from one of Ireland's premier bowlers, Simi Singh. 2 sixes is probably what Young needs here, you feel, in this over, isn't it?
Well, certainly one.
bowling flat outside the off stump, and I know this sounds bizarre, but he probably won't mind conceding the single too much there.
That was exactly what I was going to say. He'll be far happier to bowl to Ross Allen here, to the bigger side of the ground. And again, would you gamble, Andrew? Get someone in on the offside, maybe stop that single. Make sure you're bowling the last ball to the left-hander, particularly in the offside, not let him squeeze it away there. And again, they've brought someone offside. Rory Anders going down into that squeeze position with David O'Halloran. They've got to be sharp there.
Simi Singh can't get a hand on that one. He really wanted to stop that one because Craig Young is only going to have one ball to work with. The final delivery of spin in this innings, you'd have to think, with Little and McCarthy certs to bowl the final 2 overs of the match. And for the Warriors to have any chance to win this ball almost certainly has to go for 4 or 6.
It's been a brilliant over from Simi Singh so far.
Hides it away outside the off stump. I think if Craig Young had left that, it would have been a wide. But the reason he's bowled it all the way out there is that there's no chance of it getting hit for 4 or 6. Brilliant bowling, just 5 runs coming from the over. Expert death bowling from the off spinner. The Leinster Lightning, they've got 24 to defend off the final 2 overs.
And you'd have to think at this stage that is going to be defendable. George Dockrell, a little bit sluggish, unlike him. I think he possibly thought that Tim Tector might have been going for that ball himself, but with him advancing, that's a cracking over from Simi Singh, and it'll be interesting to maybe look at these bowling figures, Andrew, if we can
look at the comparison as well, Alan. The Lightning in their first innings 104 for 8 right now after 18. The Warriors now 104 for 8 as well, but it was George Dockrell's late burst that's given them a chance. Brilliant bowling from McCarthy, Little and Hoey in particular. Good stuff too from Singh, 2 for 20 for him. The 5th bowler is such a bit of a mixed bag from O'Halloran, Anders and Dockrell. They've been expensive. That segment of 4 overs has gone for 38, but the other 4 bowlers, really excellent stuff, and it's going to be McCarthy to bowl the penultimate over, which means Little will bowl the last.
Be interesting to actually know what happened to Barry McCarthy, because I was thinking to myself, you've taken 3 for 8 in 2 overs. I know he left the field, but you might kind of consider you'd go on one leg. You're on fire.
Yeah, it was a super opening burst that's given the Lightning a chance. I think it was his knee or his ankle, but he's in to bowl the second last over of the match now. Ross Allen makes space outside the off stump, trying to target the short leg side boundary. Can only squeeze it down to long off singles. Not enough for the Warriors at the moment. 23 to win off 11, but wasn't it fascinating to see that comparison? At this stage of the game a ball ago, both sides on the exact same score in terms of runs and wickets.
But as you say, it was George Dockrell with that last over from Shane Getgate that really got them up to any sort of defendable score. But you wouldn't have thought at the halfway stage you'd see the Warriors languishing in this position.
Goes with the slower ball. That's the one McCarthy bowls out of the back of the hand, and it's ended up going miles down the leg side, and Craig Young just shadow batting, practicing, smashing it out of the ground down towards the river foil. Not a good one from McCarthy, signalled wide.
Always fascinates me at this stage, Andrew, what might go on in the mind. And yes, I understand slower ball, this, that and the other, but what's simply wrong with full and at the stumps or wide Yorkers?
Goes into the pads of Craig Young, follows the batsman a bit. Barry McCarthy a little fortunate there, because Kevin O'Brien very fine at fine leg, and he just got that a bit wider. That might have run away for a boundary.
It was so slow though, Andrew, wasn't it? Back of the hand, another one from McCarthy. Be interesting to see what he goes with this delivery. Mightn't necessarily be a slower ball bouncer.
Has to be full and straight, doesn't it? Surely, maybe it may be a 4th stump, a 5th stump in that Yorker block hole, protect the leg side to the left-hander.
Absolutely.
21 to win off 10. The Warriors still need to find boundaries somehow. They can't find the boundary. Good from McCarthy, hanging it away outside the off stump. Ross Allen completely losing his shape, trying to overhit a little.
This will be a batting performance that will have the Northwest Warriors coach Gary Wilson chewing his nails. He'll be very disappointed. It's just very difficult to see from this position the Warriors getting over the line.
Hit into the offside. Just loops over the shoulder of Simi Singh at extra cover. McCarthy looking for the block hole, not quite executing. Turns into a full toss. 2 runs to the total. Faint claps in the crowd. They know that's probably not enough. Where are the boundaries coming from, Alan?
Well, you have to be targeting that short boundary, which the Warriors, apart from William McClintock, that over from George Dockrell, just haven't been able to do.
Really good bowling this, and not given a wide because Ross Allen has come significantly about 2 yards outside his off stump. So that line is a guideline. And you might say at home, why is this not signalled wide? Watch Ross Allen here, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. He's taken himself at least a foot and a half offside of the ball, and Barry McCarthy, very wise to that, just went wider and wider.
And he goes there again, and he's going to get away with it again. Rolly Black's arms are not outstretched. Brilliant bowling from the Irish fast bowler. That over has only gone for 5 again. And it's left the Northwest Warriors with a massive mountain to climb. 19 to win off the final over of the match. Josh Little's going to bowl it. Surely he's got enough to protect and defend to get the Leinster Lightning over the line.
I would think without a shadow of a doubt. Vastly experienced. Even for a young man, he's bowled many times in this situation.
Alan, one question for you. You talk about the small 1% margins in the game. Why is the final over of this innings being bowled from this end, where you're going to have the shorter boundary on the leg side? So as the captain, you're allowed to open up from either end.
Well, of course, you're assuming, Andrew, that we've got 2 right-handers at the crease, which we don't. So, on the laws of averages, it's a difficult one to... When you look at the team that's playing, like obviously the Northwest Warriors have a lot of left-handers in their team, so it's not necessarily something you can judge. It's the sort of thing, if you're thinking who's coming in as George Dockrell, the captain. But I would think, when you look at it, again, the comparison, only 113, 109. Of course, George Dockrell profiting from that extraordinary last over. So 19 to win from 6 deliveries. Where are you going?
Josh Little's going to go full and straight and probably around that wide guideline outside the off stump, you'd have to think. Yeah, in that first innings, it was the most expensive over of the match. Dockrell taking it for 14. Here comes Little. He's going to go full and out towards that guideline. You can see Young, he's taking a step across. He's trying to heave it down towards the pavilion. Can't quite get it there. Brilliant bowling from Josh Little. Great execution of his skills. Shorter this time, and Young can't make any connection. There's a risk with that delivery, because if that gets a top edge, it's going to go over the head of the keeper, probably run away for 4, maybe even 6, but no contact made. Almost game over now. 19 to win off 4. Brilliant stuff from Josh Little.
Well, the one thing, he got it wide outside off stump and chest high. It is a gamble, but you will notice, Andrew, we've got third man down on the line.
Hit into the sky. Is that going to go far enough to travel over the rope, or will Andy Balbirnie be able to hang on? He's made a superb stop, caught it and flicked it back in. He's saved 4 runs probably there. Brilliant from Balbirnie. Gets a big ovation, the Irish captain from the Northwest Warriors. A match-defining moment there.
What a fantastic piece of work there from Andy Balbirnie. Oh, I wonder, had that foot gone down? And it'll be interesting, of course,
another one that would have been sent upstairs, Alan. It would have been
HBV cameras. I think the decision might have been somewhat different.
And Young cannot make contact. 3 times in this over, he hasn't been able to make contact. He kicks the turf in frustration, and as long as Josh Little can keep his foot behind the line. The Leinster Lightning are going to get over the line, and they're going to blow this IP20 competition wide open.
Without a shadow of a doubt, this is great work from Josh Little, but I go back to that delivery. Balbirnie did a tremendous piece of work, but I just wonder, as he had his hand with the ball, had his foot grounded over the boundary, Andrew Leonard.
I think he just flicked it back in time. Very close indeed. Little keeps the foot behind the line. That's all over, she wrote. 17 to win off a single delivery. It's going to end up being almost a comfortable, comprehensive victory for the Lightning. That initial burst from Barry McCarthy, those late runs from George Dockrell, the excellent leg spin of Gavin Hoey. What a performance from the Leinster Lightning, and Josh Little closing it out now as well. Hit into the sky, out towards Andy Balbirnie. He's dropped one earlier. He's not going to drop that. And the Leinster Lightning have got the win. Gets a cheer from the home crowd. A little bit of banter with the Irish captain. He's well liked up here in the Northwest. What a win for the Leinster Lightning. Phenomenal stuff from Josh Little, closing out the victory. And Alan Lewis, big questions asked of the Leinster Lightning. They lost 3 in a row. They've finished this second festival with back-to-back wins. They've caught up on the Northwest Warriors at the top of the table. It's anyone's game after 2 IP20 series. What a game of cricket we've seen.
Extraordinary game of cricket. It was in the balance throughout. And really, at the end of this, the Northwest Warriors will be wondering, how did we not win this game? But hats off to the Leinster Lightning. They kept fighting. They took early wickets. Barry McCarthy, crucial up front. But for me, it was the spell in the middle. Gavin Hoey bowled beautifully. Debutant yesterday. Difficult time, but he bowled with great pace and accuracy, and every batsman, even within that spell, Andrew, we had a maiden over from Gavin Hoey, which is virtually unheard of in T20 cricket, and it's been a great second performance for him in a Lightning jersey, and he got more overs today, which was the crucial thing. He got his rhythm, and delighted for him. Again, another young find of a cricketer.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from the young leg spinner, just 18 years of age, Gavin Hoey. Great mutual respect between these sides, but there's going to be a tussle to play for, and I think if the fixtures remain the same, Alan, the final game of the next IP Festival will be the Warriors against the Lightning. If they stick with the same order, that could well end up being a straight shootout to see who's going to take the title. It's set up beautifully. The Lightning, as I said, they had huge questions asked of them, not just in the way that they lost that opening day to the Munster Reds, but it was the manner of the defeat. It was listless. It was a poor performance really on the Friday, but they have bounced back in a comprehensive fashion. What has provided that spark? The excellence of McCarthy, Little, the introduction of Hoey, and the leadership of Dockrell?
Well, I think overall they probably have, they've got McCarthy and Little in the lineup, and McCarthy has done it game in, game out. He's taken wickets early. Josh Little did it yesterday in perhaps the quickest spell of the tournament so far, and he's been excellently consistent throughout. Again, in that Munster game, PJ Moore, probably the outstanding batting performance in terms of heavy runs, and I think the only concern will be, from the point of view of an Irish situation, that the major players aren't getting the volume of runs that they should be getting, Andrew.
Yeah, lots of questions being asked of the batsmen. Not a batsman's paradise by any stretch today here in Breedy. Just felt a bit tacky and a little bit of lateral movement, but the Lightning's total of 127 ended up being enough. A phenomenal performance from the Lightning. Magic game of cricket, Alan.
Magic game of cricket. Really, really magic game of cricket. And it's interesting when we evaluate this. The father of the son took his 300th wicket for Trinity. And we're going to pass over to Andrew Blair White to just see who the man of the match might be.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you, Andrew. I'm delighted to be here at the Player of the Match presentation for Game 11 of the IP20 series between the Northwest Warriors and the Leinster Lightning. The Leinster Lightning coming out on top by 16 runs, having scored 127 for 9 earlier this morning, thanks mainly to 55 not out from George Dockrell, but they defended it superbly thanks to Barry McCarthy's 3 for 20 from 4 overs, and our player of the match, the young leg spinner from Pembroke, Gavin Hoey, for 2 for 12 from 4 overs. And Gavin must have been delighted with that performance and to get a win on the board.
Yeah, it was a great win for the lads. Delighted personally, obviously with a disappointed day yesterday. So yeah.
And you seem to be really landing your leg spinners very well, bowling with good pace as well.
Yeah, it was the right end to bowl today. It was slightly tougher yesterday against the breeze. It was slightly easier to hit straight, so it was tougher for the lads to hit against that big boundary, the big leg side boundary. So yeah, it was a lot easier today, I think.
And making your debut yesterday, how much nerves were there yesterday, and how much more, I suppose, were you feeling today going into today, having had that?
A lot more relaxed today. Yesterday was tricky. First few balls you could see it's tough, but glad to get through it anyway, so today was much better.
And what's it like going into that Leinster Lightning setup? You'd have seen plenty of them on TV. You've played with some of them at Pembroke, which must be a good help as well.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant to have a few familiar faces in there, and the lads are brilliant to me. Yeah.
And after that Friday loss, I know you weren't in the team on Friday. It's obviously disappointing. There must have been a few words. It seems to be a much different Leinster Lightning team the past 2 days. Much more enjoyment, much more joy. I was talking to Josh. He was talking about joy yesterday. Must be a kind of more happier camp now after that game.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yesterday, Georgie was talking about it, and it was just to continue on from yesterday's good win. We've got the results in today, which is brilliant.
And young man, just getting into the Leinster Lightning setup, what are your aspirations for this summer and going forward?
Just take as many wickets as I can, I guess. Try not to score any more ducks.
Thank you very much to Gavin Hoey, who bowled absolutely superbly for his 2 for 12 from 4 overs in the Leinster Lightning win by 16 runs. We're back in around 90 minutes time for the second game today between the Northern Knights and the Munster Reds. From myself, Andrew Blair White, my co-commentators Andrew Leonard, Alan Lewis and Peter Gillespie. We'll see you in 90 minutes time, and hopefully you can join us.
Time to embrace the giant spirit of Derry Londonderry. Visit discovernorthernireland.com.
Smash It and It's Wicked are new action-packed fun programmes for kids to try out cricket at your club.
Attract new players and coaches to your club and grow the sport of cricket in Ireland.
Smash It is for children aged 5 to 9 and is all about having fun, trying out batting, bowling, fielding and wicket keeping.
It's Wicked is for girls aged 9 to 13 and is built on game-based cricket fun with friends.
Programmes contain 6 to 8 sessions of fun and safe training for kids.
Clubs will receive all the equipment you will need for your sessions.
And free activator training is provided to all clubs interested. Activators will receive free programming resources and an activator top and t-shirt.
Get your club involved today and have fun introducing more kids to cricket.
Sign your club up now.
Why cricket? Cricket is a great sport for all children regardless of gender, age or ability.
It's also a non-contact sport which promotes teamwork and individual skill development.
Participation is all about getting children active and excited about cricket through discovery and play. But this can't happen without a little bit of help, and that's where you come in.
Smash It and It's Wicket. Rely on volunteers like you. As an activator, you will plan and deliver safe, fun and inclusive sessions that promote participation and create great experiences.
The importance of your role as an activator cannot be underestimated. You will help ensure that there is a new generation of players, fans, umpires, coaches, scorers and cricket leaders.